Chapter 101 Sarutobi, do you still want to be Hokage? Jien sang, what did you and father say? Outside the Uchiha clan's clan, Itachi finally summoned the courage to ask this sentence. Clack. Fingers on forehead. Itachi looked at each other dumbly, as if asking what Bajien meant. Do you really want to know? Bajien raised his eyebrows, and his head was close to the other's forehead. The boy under the shirtless had a sense of oppression, which made Itachi feel dazed. He had just finished washing Jianzhang's clothes. He wanted to put some clothes on for him, but Jianzhang said that shirtless is cool. But he must have wanted to know the content of the conversation. From today onwards, your father won't be sitting at home all the time grimacing. Look with your eyes, Itachi. Patting his shoulder, Bajien smiled. With Itachi's intelligence, he will definitely feel something. The 8 swords that should be done have been done, and he has done his best. 30. If Uchiha's problems can't be changed, then he can only use coercive means to eradicate the problem. Your father won't be frowning. Itachi opened his mouth, as if thinking of something. Jien sang. Come on, practice with me, and take a bath with me at night. Stopping Itachi's thoughts of continuing to speak, Hachiken pulled his collar and walked out. Why say too much? A hearty practice is enough, that is the correct way of communication between men. In the blink of an eye, a month has passed. The calm of the ninja world continues. But the weird atmosphere intensified, and pieces of information were passed between shinobi villages. The Konoha village is the exact opposite of the atmosphere outside. High as the defeated supplies from Kumogakure village are delivered to Konoha in batches. From time to time, I go to the merit wall to worship and express my respect for the 8 swords at the Konoha training ground. After a month of training, Anbu's ninja spirit has reached a peak. Although from the previous 350 people, there are 300 people left after batch of screening. The rest were left out of the battle sequence to become part of the other Anbu posts but still fell short of the 8 swords' expectations. What he wants is absolute elite. The appearance of such special forces is far from being effective, and it will not give too much shock. In short, the remaining members of Anbu still need to hone. But the intensity is no longer so high, otherwise it will be in this high-intensity elimination system for a long time. It will make their nerves too tense, and I'm afraid it will be counterproductive. After the daily practice is over, Bajien came to Hokage's office. Always going to be a lot to deal with in the developmental Konoha. The only people Minato can count on for help are Yamanaka Inoichi and Nara Shikaku, no one else can help. So after this month, Minato is really tired. But the mental state of the whole person is much better than before. Now he is the real Hokage. And it's a relief to deal with Konoha's development. The change is going well, everything is going where it is supposed to be. This made him very happy. I didn't expect that the Kingdom of Thunder would really be willing to give up such a large area. Handing the map in his hand to the 8 swords, Minato said with some emotion. It will certainly be. After glancing at the area above, Bajien said calmly. Ninja Village, the strongest fighting force in a country, has been destroyed, and the Kingdom of Thunder will still bite the bullet. Resist. Unless the Land of Thunder is flooded, it will never challenge Konoha. But the daimyo from the Land of Fire also sent someone. A wry smile, Minato sighed with a headache. To come over because he wanted to ask Konoha how he should face the daimyo's messenger, even. Ji Jiming dispatched an official who was specially responsible for receiving that area. The meaning of the name is obvious. They want that place. What does our Konoha trophy have to do with the Land of Fire? Bajien, who was sitting on the sofa, sneered. He had thought that this kind of thing might happen before. After finishing the expansion of the territory of the Land of Fire, the big name is still very interested. But the premise is that the big name of the Land of Fire has no idea why the Land of Thunder will do this. Crisply give up that area. The name of the Kingdom of Thunder can understand that without the help of Ninja Village, the Kingdom of Thunder is nothing. It's a pity that the Fire Country daimyo has no consciousness. But on the daimyo side, we can't be too tough. After all, every year he gives Konoha a lot of supplies. Rich. That's where the headache comes in. It is absolutely impossible for the Kingdom of Fire to take away the benefits that I have worked hard to exchange with blood. Okay, and that land was won by Bajian. He must ask Bajian what he meant by 0 inches easy. Holding up the wine gourd, he took a sip, and Bajian yawned a bit dull. Minato is always missing some workarounds. This kind of thing is not difficult to deal with. Since he thought that the big name might send someone in a shameless manner, he must also think about the countermeasures. All right, daimyo can want that piece of land, but not even if he doesn't. When everyone comes, we can't let them go back empty-handed. Standing up, Hachiken said something that puzzled Minato. Konoha has only 2 requirements. Remember that as a requirement, not a condition of negotiation, a requirement that must be met. Reaching out his hand, the boy smiled slightly. Number 1, starting today, the Kingdom of Fire's support for Konoha will be turned over. 3 times. 3 times. Minato was stunned and didn't expect Haken to speak so loudly. I'm not finished yet. Bajian shrugged. Second, for all the benefits that area gets every month, Konoha wants 9. Become. It's not that you can't give your name if you want face, but that's the price. We at Konoha don't have that many people to manage such a large area. He is willing to accept. Accept it, if you don't want to accept it. Let him think about why the daimyo of the Kingdom of Thunder was willing to send the land, wondering if Konoha helped him think. A dispensable piece of land is exchanged for 3 times the material, plus the income of that piece of land, which is comparable to simple. More land. It's still very clear to count 0.6 of the 8 swords, and in the end his words were a threat. The means are hard enough, and it can even be said to be a threat on the surface. As expected of you. There is nothing wrong with what Reikage said. Hokage in all dynasties. Minato of the Hokage office is seeking benefits for Konoha, not too far from the Hokage building. A certain room of the Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Danzo in front of him with a shocked face. Just now, Danzo said something to himself. A word he didn't expect at all. Sarutobi. Now do you want to become Hokage again? What does he mean? 3 generations were stunned. Fourth more. Chapter 102. This time, I won't let you fool around. Do you still want to be Hokage again? Want to? Slowly return to calm. Sarutobi slowly lit his pouch and took a puff. After a long time, he spat out 4 words from his mouth. I thought about it. Ever thought about it? Does that mean you don't want it anymore? Danzo was a little surprised. From what he knew about his old buddy, he was by no means the type who could easily give up his rights. Should even be jealous of Namikaze Minato, who is now loved, and the little devil known as Konoha Kenpachi. But now the other party's reaction exceeded his expectations. Sarutobi didn't lie to Danzo. These 4 words come from the heart. Maybe before that negotiation, the old man did think about taking power again, but after that, he had no idea. I'm old and Konoha should rest assured in the hands of young people. And I believe Minato can do better. Saying this, Sarutobi looked up at his old buddy. Here are his companions along the way, including Kaharu Udatane, Homura Mitokado, Uchiha Kagami and Akamichi taking the wind. They are teammates in the same period and the escort of the 2nd generation Hokage Senju Tobarama. The days of performing tasks together have produced an inseparable bond between them. 4 decades have passed. Those old guys have changed. But when it comes to change, the change in the old man in front of him is the biggest change. 2 Hokage consultants have become all about enjoyment and can't give any effective help on some big issues. Only the dead Uchiha Kagami can really speak his mind. Kaharu Udatane and Homura Mitokado just become vain. But Danzo, like himself, values power more and more. The establishment of the root is wrong. Just one Anbu is enough for Konoha. Anbu is dark enough, but the roots are darker than Anbu, and that darkness does not belong to Konoha. He never said these words. Maybe Danzo did have some credit to Konoha for establishing roots in the beginning. With the greater power, Danzo began to be reckless. He thought he couldn't see, but in fact he just saw but didn't speak. Including Danzo's cooperation with Orochimaru, he can turn a blind eye. Sarutobi thinks a lot in his own home these days. Looking back at what he said, he thought he was not at fault, but it was also as described by Yi Bajian. Can't write a single thing that can be put on the wall of merit. Sake of Konoha, he admits to doing his best, but mediocrity is also a fact. Hokage's place has been given to Minato, and Sarutobi has gradually let go of his desire for power. The only thing he regrets is the wall that records his achievements. If possible, he will find a meaningful thing to do for the rest of his life to make up for this regret. It was his only thought. Got it. Siwon. Staring at Sarutobi's face for a full minute, Danzo seemed to want to find a flaw in the hypocrisy. Unfortunately, he was disappointed. This time, the old man he thought he knew exceeded his expectations. Standing up, Danzo walks out. Danzo, I advise you to do nothing. I have abdicated and now the Hokage of Konoha is Minato. Sarutobi's voice followed. The warning in the words meant that Danzo heard it clearly. Without a doubt, Danzo came to himself today with a purpose. And the first thing he opened was to ask him if he wanted to be Hokage again. What he's going to do Sarutobi doesn't know, but it's definitely not a good thing. Just like Danzo enumerates his unseen feats, I am afraid it is the same as those things. Nature. The so-called person with roots has no name, no feelings, no past and no future. There is only a task in the heart, and what supports the big tree of Konoha behind it is deeply rooted in the earth. I wait for the root will. Without answering Sarutobi Hiruzen's words, Danzo murmured. Konoha is completely out of control, and the rescue is only on the right track, contemporary Hokage and that little. The idea of ghosts is completely wrong. As a root, all threats need to be eradicated. Turning around without any hesitation, Danzo has left Sarutobi Hiruzen's house, leaving Sarutobi alone. Sitting there dumbfounded. Once, you told me the same. But that's not what you did, Danzo. This time, I won't let you fool around. A little slack. Out of Hokage's office, Bajian glanced at his system panel with some helplessness. It is not that the daily task of swinging the knife is slack. It was the sudden task that he had not completed until now. Originally, his plan was to train Anbu specially, select the elites and lead them to completely remove the nails in the country of fire, sweeping the border to create the momentum of this army. At that time, he can continue to harvest life and directly liberate his Zanpakuto to become the real god of death. But now he finds himself a little whimsical. Even elites have limited talents. After all, this is a world of fighting fathers. Some people's strength can be qualitatively changed after opening Mangekyo, and the strength of opening Gundam is close to cage level. But some people spend their entire lives just being a Chunin minion. Although his special training method is very effective, it will take at least a month to achieve the effect he wants. So this task can only wait. However, the speed of progress of the Anbu ninjas is not what Yajian cares about. As time goes on, the quality can keep up. Right now he only cares about one thing. QB 9 Tails Chaos, only 1 month left. A bright light flashed in his eyes, and the figure of Bajian disappeared instantly. I really didn't expect you to get into Anbu. The familiar roof of the 4th generation Hokage Namikaze Minato's house, Kakashi helplessly looked at the iconic piece of hair, and said Guy, who had a rare beast temperament no matter what kind of mask he used. Yes, 420 Guy went into Anbu. Who would have thought of this? Just kidding, His character is only suitable for open and above-mentioned attacks. This kind of errand hidden in the dark is really not suitable for Guy's character. This is also reflected in the original work. Seeing that Kakashi was a little gloomy in his heart, as his friend, Might Guy did not hesitate to apply to Sandai to enter Anbu but was rejected. The baffled Guy wanted to join the route in a rage when he passed by Danzo. Directly treated as a second force by Danzo. You don't have enough darkness inside. This is the explanation given by Danzo. Really? The thinking of the rare beast is never comparable to others. Just like he is sitting upside down and training with one hand, and then ask Kakashi if he wants to compete. Big brother. We are on a mission. Shisui wanted to laugh but didn't dare to laugh from the looks of the two. It took a while to get used to the arrival of the new members. Whoosh. A figure landed on the roof. It was the 8 swords coming out of the Hokage building. Look around. Uchiha Itachi, Uchiha Shisui, Hitaki Kakashi and Might Guy, plus himself a total of 5 people. The safety of Uzumaki Kushina will be guarded in shifts 24 hours a day from now on. At this moment, the Night Owl team gathered again. There is only one task. Guard the safety of Taito Jinchuiki column force. 5th more. Recommend a good friend a daily Hokage. Hinata is my child wife. Chapter 103 I want to meet Kyubi, 9 Tails. Uzumaki Kushina. Now she's not just Hokage's wife, Kyubi, 9 Tails, person Jinchuriki, column force these 2 identities. She is also the wife of his Yi-Bajian. Since he has promised Minato to be Naruto's brother, he will never allow this careless woman to have problems. Of course, other than that, everything was doomed when Minato stood in front of him at Anbu's door. The exclusive escort mission of the Night Owl squad. Night fell, Minato was still working tirelessly in the Hokage office. Of Minato's house, several hidden figures have already entered the working state. The elite level of this squad is beyond the imagination of ordinary people. So, if you don't look closely, no one will be able to spot them. Come down for dinner. Unfortunately, the sound from the balcony made several people jump out helplessly. Bro. Really hidden. Even the mentally handicapped knew that there was an ambush here. More importantly, what Uzumaki Kushina shouted made everyone's expressions change drastically except for Bajian and Guy. Have dinner. Stop kidding, okay. They would rather eat ration pills than those horrible foods. Unfortunately, when Kushina wanted to jump on the roof with a big belly, they could only go down and walk into the room tremblingly. Don't think that the pregnant woman in front of her is an ordinary pregnant woman. She really dares to do this kind of exercise from the balcony to the roof. Naruto's carefree personality is probably inherited from Kushina. Of course, she didn't come by her temperament either. After all, she is a mother now, and no mother wants her child to have an accident. It's only because the above people are strong, they can catch her even if she doesn't dance well. Others can't guarantee that such an accident in Bajianmian is absolutely impossible. And when a few people were sitting around the dining table, the things that surprised them came to a head. I saw that in front of them was a bowl of steaming soup that sold quite well. I don't know what the raw material is, but it seems to be fine anyway. Since it's Kushina-sama's treat, then I'm welcome. Tilda. Guy, who was on the Anbu mission for the first time, was already very hungry. No matter how you looked at it, things like Bingbaoen were not as delicious as this bowl of soup. Brother. Kakashi next to him stretched out his hand with a cautious face. Seeing his nervous look, he obviously felt that things were not that simple. What? Guy was stunned. Gollum. And just when the two exchanged glances with tacit understanding, Bajian next to him had already picked up his own bowl and poured it into his stomach resolutely. Not bad. Wiping his mouth, Hachiken politely nodded to Kushina. To mention the taste, just because Kushina has a big belly and doesn't care about them, this bowl of soup has to be drunk no matter what. And since he was a child, his stomach has been refined by Anko, and he is not afraid of this threat at all. In fact, Bajian also thinks that Kushina's food is more delicious than Anko's. As expected of you, Captain Xiao is like a man, you have to drink soup like this. Unsure of the reason, Guy stuck his thumb out at Hachiken, and then picked up his bowl of soup, ignoring Kakashi's bar. Gollum. Guy's expression changed when the magical liquid entered his stomach. The face that had never been discouraged turned green at first, and then the whole person began to tremble as if his breathing had stopped. Immediately afterwards, the green on his face was dyed with a touch of purple, and a few tears from the corners of his eyes were completely wiped out. Man, be patient. Just when Guy couldn't stop, Bajian calmly continued to drink a bowl. Awesome. Guy stretched out his thumb and gestured at Bajian again, and then smashed his chest with his raised head. The purple on the face has turned to livid. Obviously, he was enduring a torment that ordinary people couldn't bear. Shaking his head, Bajian didn't bother to toss Guy anymore. Maybe eating this kind of food is very hard for them, but it is also a way of experience. Just imagine, in order to survive in a special situation when performing a mission, when there is no food at all, they will probably eat something 100 times worse than this. If you don't eat, you will die. How do you choose? There's nothing wrong with exercising that will with Kushina food. But it also needs to be done in moderation. Standing up, Hachiken pulled Kushina's sleeve. Master, I want to see QB, Nine Tails. Bajian wouldn't say the words, mother, or father. But that didn't stop him from enjoying the feeling of family affection. QB, Nine Tails. Kushina was stunned. What is the Eight Swords going to do? QB, Nine Tails, what to see, that kind of thing. However, as Minato's wife, Kushina understands that Minato sees Heiken as his own child, and even made Naruto his brother before he gave birth. It's a heartfelt recognition. And since the first time the Eight Swords escorted by her side, she has recognized the existence of the Eight Swords. He won't hurt himself, Kushina believes in that. Could it be that he wants to reinforce the seal for himself? Bai Mingren is about to go out, and the seal in her body will be very fragile by then. Nodding, Kushina pulled the Eight Swords to the inner room. Tilda, if you want to vomit, vomit, otherwise it will be too late when Xiao and Xiniang come back. Kakashi saw the opportunity to drag Guy and rushed to the balcony. Obviously he could see that Guy was experiencing a more terrifying after effect than opening the 8 inner gates. Similar to the sealed space inside Naruto. But slightly different. QB, Nine Tails, wrapped in golden chains in front of him, Bajian touched his chin. This is the Vajra seal. It can be seen that in order to successfully download Naruto, Kushina has tried his best to strengthen the seal. It seems that when the 6 Paths Immortals divided chakra, they were a little distracted, or they were partial. Therefore, it may cause QB, Nine Tails, to be a little too powerful, and even when the tail beast is transformed, it is not compatible with the other tailed beasts are different. Of course, this may also be because Naruto was the reincarnation of Asura before turning on the golden body mode. QB, Nine Tails, chakra mode is not as strong as someone else. Lee got it. Hey, it's QB, Nine Tails. Kushina stood by and pointed to the tailed beast that was locked in a deadlock. Little devil. Not struggling as fiercely as he usually sees himself, QB, Nine Tails, has a strong murderous intent in his eyes. The intuition that fears the beast tells it that this kid in front of him has the ability to really make it die. Not the kind of death you can slowly recover from after death. Is really dead. Slowly raise your head. Bajian's eyes met Tai's huge pupils. And its next sentence made QB, Nine Tails, completely stunned. Put it down first, mistress. This little devil. What is he going to do? 6th more. I'm sorry, my readers, I said that it broke out today, but it's just that my stomach is unsatisfactory and I can't describe it. Pretty miserable. I'm completely exhausted, I have to go to rape. Chapter 104 Kurama's Doubts, the same beast breath. Want to unlock adamantine sealing chains? This is Kyubi, 9 tails, a tailed beast full of hatred. Kushina opened her mouth, but met Bajian's reassuring eyes. Don't worry, it won't move. If it's not honest, the consequences will be serious. Hachiken shook his head and walked straight to Kurama, looking at him seriously. What do you say, Llama? No one likes being tied up, and tailed beasts are no exception. That taste is not good. This little devil. Kyubi, 9 tails' eyes flickered in the beast pupils, as if he was contemplating something. How on earth did a little devil know the name of this uncle? There is no smell of the old 6 paths on him, and it does not belong to his descendants. Also, is it really not afraid that this uncle will be slapped to death without a chain? I don't know what Bajian is going to do, but for the sake of safety, Kushina backed away and raised his hand. After the golden chains disappeared, Kyubi, 9 tails, did not attack, but watched Yi Bajian with vigilance. Just by the breath of death on this little devil at the beginning. Kyubi, 9 tails, understands that this is someone who can really kill himself. The vigilance in his eyes grew stronger. That was the vigilance that was not present when facing Uchiha Madara. Kyubi, 9 tails, is only angry at Uchiha Madara who controls him. This is the instinctive fear of animalistic tendencies. Don't be nervous, just wanted to chat with you. Bajian shook his head and strode to the sharp claws. Human Jinchuriki column force has a way to bring other people into the sealed space within the body, but what really comes in can only be regarded as a trace of spiritual energy with a soul. So even if Kyubi, 9 tails, shoots, he doesn't really get hurt. The pupils gradually contracted, and the instinct-like needles gradually called out. At this moment, Kyubi, 9 tails, looked at Bajian as if he saw the same kind. If zipping communicates with you in this way, you will feel more at ease. Holding his shoulders, Bajian jumped lightly, jumping on the bridge of Kyubi, 9 tails' nose and looking at each other. A little weird. The uncle didn't even throw him off. Squinting, Kurama's eyes were still full of disbelief. Since leaving the 6 Paths Ferry. As a fox who likes freedom, the days of being sealed like this can only be described as suffering. People use it as a tool but don't know that tailed beasts have the same emotions as humans. After 2 very similar needle-shaped pupils stared at each other for a full minute, Kyubi, 9 tails, finally spoke. Little devil, you shouldn't be human. He has the same wildness and animal nature as beasts. That's not what humans should have. So, we can talk about it from a peer-to-peer perspective. Hachiken stretched out his hand and hesitated for a while, and finally nodded at Kurama's head. This was the first time I used a tailed beast to feel a little weird. It is estimated that if Itachi sees it, he will probably go crazy. What kind of pose is this? Little. Kurama's fox-tail wagged his face in confusion. Whether it's a human or a wild you, I always feel that something is wrong. This uncle is not your dog. Empathy overflows. Not really. Kyubi, 9 tails, this time, Bajian has his own plans. Why did Naruto have such a childhood in the original book? The chaos of Kyubi, 9 tails. This is the most fundamental reason. The people regard Naruto as Kyubi, 9 tails, who caused cholera. But there is one thing Bajian is quite puzzled about. The villagers only know that Naruto has Kyubi, 9 tails, in his body and is the Jinchuriki column power of Kyubi, 9 tails people. But as the hero who saves the village, the identity of the son of the 4th Hokage is unknown. Minato later is that the 3rd generation wants to protect Naruto by Shadai's Yellow Flash title obtained in the 3rd Ninja War is extremely dazzling, and the relative hatred is very dazzling. There will be many enemies. But in the eyes of Bajian, the 2 identities of Kyubi, 9 tails, Jinchuriki, column force and the son of the 4th generation are clearly the former. Attractive. Then why only release the news that Naruto is Kyubi, 9 tails, Jinchuriki, column force but keep the information of the son of a hero? Weird. But there is no need to analyze it carefully. Sooner or later he will deal with the Konoha high-level matters. Today he came to Kyubi, Nine Tails. Put an end to the idea that people hate Jinchuriki column force. He wants to eliminate all possible potential threats. The village has changed. Although Bajian swore not to let Obito touch Kushina, he still had to take precautions. The original Kyubi, Nine Tails, wasn't very maddening at first. Only after Minato defeated Obito, the demonic illusion imposed on Kyubi, Nine Tails, was also lifted. The beast Daihatsu's Kyubi, Nine Tails, starts an indiscriminate attack. Here comes disaster. Who is more violent, the controlled tailed beast or the uncontrolled tailed beast? Eight Swords chose the latter. You don't want to be locked up like this all the time. At least I don't even have time to go out and let the wind out. Sitting on the llama's nose, Bajian touched his waist, but the wine gourd was not brought in. Kyubi, Nine Tails, cannot be bought for 2 drinks. What do you mean? The doubt in Kyubi, Nine Tails' eyes deepened. Free? Who doesn't want to be free? One level is decades, and all day long, you can only see what people can see with Jinchuriki column force. No one likes the feeling of being tied down. Trust is mutual. I just believed you once, so you believe me once. Bajian sighed and suddenly felt a little dull. Sure enough, he is not Naruto after all. It is impossible to say a few words to make the tailed beast return to his heart. It will never be possible to say anything into those huge eyes of Kyubi, Nine Tails, and one day resolve the other's heart. Hatred in. That's a forced escape. In the original book, Bajian doesn't look happy, and he won't say it by himself. Pragmatism is the most important thing. Human, don't think that a few words can make this uncle believe you. Sure enough, Kurama still stared at Yabajian coldly. It's not that easy to gain its trust. I only told you once. Bajian shook his head. If there is an accident, I mean an accident. You take it easy, squat on the ground honestly, don't disturb me and dare to let go of this village. I'll smash your head off. The right hand gestured to fire a pistol, and the needle-shaped pupils of the 8 swords returned to their original state. On the contrary, if you abide by the agreement, you will be given the opportunity to come out and move freely in the future. Standing up, Bajian jumped off Kyubi, Nine Tails. For him who owns the system, this kind of thing is not difficult to do, just spend some system points to exchange points. Just a tool. Always feels good to use Kyubi, Nine Tails, for home care. Especially when the power tail cooperates a little and becomes the appearance of a child, it should be very comfortable to lift. That's right. The boy who walked towards Kushina suddenly turned his head to look at Kurama. His body was instantly pressed by the spirit of death. Burst out. I loosened your chains, but don't toss my sister-in-law. First more. Karma recommends a book to an old friend. Chapter 105 Shadow Consciousness. I've been waiting for you for a long time, Danzo. Dinner is full of warmth. Guy, who vomited back and forth a few times, also adapted to the fear of this food. 4th generation Hokage Namikaze Minato remains. Hokage building, which is not too far away, Minato looked at the old man in front of him with surprise. Sarutobi Hiruzen, Konoha 3rd generation Hokage. Came here when he was about to go home after finishing things. But this time, he didn't embarrass Minato in any way. And what he said made Minato a little emotional. Until now, not much has been done for Konoha. I hope to protect this village this time. He didn't light the pouch but just held the bong in his hand and stood there quietly watching Minato. Hokage he promoted. Finally he came. His eyes firmly said what he wanted to say. When the previous Kyubi, Nine Tails person, Jinchuriki column force, Uzumaki Mito-sama gave birth, the seal on Kyubi, Nine Tails was extremely weak. That almost caused a disaster when Kyubi, Nine Tails broke out. With memories in his eyes, Sandai continued. So Minato, this time I want to join the defense of the village. Although I am old, this is not a reason for me to let go of my responsibility to protect Konoha. Can you? There is a hint of request in the words. It is completely different from the 3 generations who acted alone in the impression of the previous 4 generations. What happened to this old man? A keen intuition tells Minato what is going to happen. 3 generations of adults. Frowning, little son wanted to ask something. But Sarutobi just shook his head. Don't ask me, I don't know, you should be intuition or something else. The old man just wants to do something meaningful with his last life, and tell the young man who has opinions on me with his actions. The 3rd generation Hokage was not for nothing. Quote. In the end, the inscription on the Will of Fire was written by the old man. Turning around and walking towards the door of the office, Sarutobi's not so tall back is quite bold. Old man, it's Konoha's 3rd generation Hokage. Close the door and leave. Minato standing by the desk in the office. After standing there for a few minutes, the little son smiled. Tell that lad. Isn't that guy the 8 swords? However, 3 generations of adults, you have also changed. The dim candles flickered slightly. Konoha, a room on the edge of some remote space surged, and a figure slowly descended in the Uzumaki-shaped space. The old man sitting in the middle of the room seemed to be accustomed to this situation, but raised his head slightly. Glanced at him. The man in front of him wears a mask and calls himself Uchiha Madara. Although it is not the first time to contact the other party, Danzo is also disdainful of this name until now. Uchiha Madara. That person will never hide himself and walk in the dark. It's almost there. Under the mask, a hoarse voice came from the gloom. The tone of the imitator Madara, Obito is Madara's heir. Until the tearing mask creates a world that belongs to him. I'm curious how you persuaded them. Danzo narrowed his eyes, as if trying to see something else in the Sharingan the other party could only see. His stuff. 2 tails and Kyuubi, 9 tails, and what you guys got before Konoha. Obito said that although his tone seemed to be understatement, Danzo still heard a little sarcasm. It seems that this kind of calculation will bring him a strong sense of satisfaction after the success of others. Yes. There are only these 2 things, and the ideas of outsiders will be outrageous. Pity. They can't get it. The sarcasm in Obito's eyes is even stronger. Even Shimura Danzo in front of him, an old man who wants to take this opportunity to become a new Hokage, can't. It's just the object of his calculations, and he won't take the initiative to find the other party. The role of the inside is also very important. I need a specific time. A long silence, Obito took a deep breath and spoke again. October 10th. Danzo's chest heaved slightly, his eyes gleaming. Well, after that day you'll be Konoha's 5th generation Hokage. Space Uzumaki surged again, and Obito's body disappeared in the darkness. 5th generation Hokage. Finally, the desire and ambition in his eyes could no longer be suppressed. Standing up and leaving the room, he walked to the end of the street in Konoha in the dark. Eyes extend from the ground to the Hokage rock above. Danzo's hand was slightly raised and pinched to death. After a long time, after calming down, he walked towards the entrance of his roots. Root. That's his own organization. Dissolution is impossible, he has countless ways to hide those who belong to darkness. Deeper. The base was as deserted as ever, and it looked as if it had been abandoned. In fact, Danzo is used to being in his room every day, controlling Konoha's every move. Only now, there are 2 stools at the entrance, and the small table in the middle of the stool has long been shogi. Put it away. It's been a long time for you, Danzo. Sitting on a stool smoking a cigarette, Sarutobi had a smile on his face. You shouldn't be here, drinking tea at home or fishing in the river, that's the life you should be living. I won't sit here and play chess with you as boring as you should understand, Sarutobi. Danzo frowned and didn't sit up. Then I will use the identity of the third generation of Hokage to order you once. The smile on his face slowly disappeared. Sarutobi knocked the ashes out of the pouch and looked at each other firmly. From now until the production of Kushina is complete. You are not allowed to go anywhere. This is my order from the third Hokage of Sarutobi Hiruzen Konoha to you. You are not allowed to go anywhere. From Hokage. From the time Danzo left his home until just now, Sarutobi thought about countless possibilities. He asked himself if he still wanted to be a Hokage, then he would definitely behave abnormally. That's not for Konoha, it's for your own Hokage dreams. Guarding Konoha was never this way. So now, here comes Sarutobi. In his own way, he controlled the old man on the edge of the cliff. In Sarutobi's view, he is saving Danzo, who has been around since the First Ninja World War. Comrade in arms. No matter what Danzo thinks, he won't hold back this time. Sarutobi, you are no longer Hokage. Who has been suppressed by the Hokage name all his life, has long been disgusted with this sentence. Whenever there was an argument, he would bring up the Hokage name. Said rebuttals, but in the end, Danzo sat opposite Sarutobi. There is only one reason. At that moment, he seemed to feel the difference in Sarutobi. He's changed. If he doesn't agree, Sarutobi will really turn his face. Even revealing their potential threats to the public. He can't bet. The intense game of shogi has begun. Second more. Recommend a good friend a book fantasy, me. Destiny's Rebel. Chapter 106 October 10th. EPUB 9 Tails, Naruto, Konoha. Haha, you didn't see it. How honest you were when you saw 8 swords just now. Minato's home. The few people who finally had a dinner were sitting on the sofa in good order. And Kushina laughed out of breath, obviously she was in a pretty good mood. To be honest, it's not that she hasn't communicated with EPUB 9 Tails. But basically every time there is no good result. This time, EPUB 9 Tails, who was so well behaved, opened her eyes. Bajian was able to let it go and was eating the apple that was cut by Kushina and only 1/3 of it was left. Nice atmosphere in the room. However, after the boy took a bite of the apple, a hint of surprise flashed in his eyes. There is no problem with the taste of apples. The problem is that the strange spiritual pressure fluctuations caught his attention. The familiar reiatsu that can no longer be familiar. The soul smeared the outer appearance with anger and resentment, as well as the almost imperceptible inferiority complex. This kind of soul fluctuation, only one person in the world has it. No matter how hidden the smell from the soul will be caught by the keen death. The 8 swords who activated the 2 major templates already knew who he was. Uchiha Obito. He came. It didn't take long for him to leave again, otherwise Bajian would have rushed out with a knife at the moment. Kamui. For that kind of space ninjutsu, only the corresponding powerful moves that can tear space can play a role. Only that trick. If it is used in Konoha, the village is probably finished. His eyes flickered, and Bajian clenched the whole apple into his mouth, biting it fiercely. It seemed that the apple had turned into Obito himself. Except for Obito. And Danzo with 3 generations of Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen. Now the 2 old men seem to be getting together. What are they doing? Swallowing the remaining apple in his mouth, he watched Kushina go back to his room to rest. The boy took a deep breath. Night Owl. When these 2 words were shouted, several members of the team rushed to Bajian and put on their masks in unison. That's what a collection means. So serious, it means that Owl has entered a state of battle. Kakashi, Guy. The Anbu training will be suspended from now on, and you will lead 100 Anbu ninjas to hide on both sides of the village. It is up to you to decide how to allocate and divide the labor. Only one point is to shoot directly when you see a suspicious target. Also Itachi, go and inform your father that the Uchiha Guard patrol interval is shortened by 5 minutes. Bring a word. The Uchiha family, it's time to show our attitude. After 2 consecutive orders, Bajian finally fixed his gaze on Shisui. To me. Taking a deep breath, Shisui was slightly nervous. The 2 old guys at the route gate, you need to monitor each other 24 hours a day, and report directly to me if there is any special action. A murderous intent flashed in his eyes. If it's too late, just kill them. Second point, in the event of an accident, your Susanoo can make the most of it. Susanoo. Shisui was obviously stunned. About his Mangekyo Sharingan. It's not that he wants to conceal it deliberately, but that he understands how much his Wanwa ability will affect him if he spreads it out. If he could, he wouldn't even want to use Koto Amatsukami for the rest of his life. But Bajian knew. Understood. Shisui's figure disappears into the room with a nod to Bajian. The team members all left with the mission. As for Kushina's safety, he is personally responsible for it. Zanpakuto fell into his hands, and Bajian walked to the balcony. Facing the dark night in front of him, he raised his long knife and lowered it gently. Only when he swings the knife, he becomes unusually calm, and thinking while swinging the knife has become a habit. The unremarkable swing of the sword not only improves the strength, but also the state of mind. The long night begins. Days 10 passed. The atmosphere in Konoha village became serious. Just seeing the patrols formed by the Uchiha clan and the Hyuga clan pass by again and again, even ordinary people. The people all know that they can't cause trouble recently, and stay at home peacefully. This day, October 10th. Just early in the morning, Kushina felt unwell and was sent to Konoha Hospital by Hachikan and Minato. Waiting in a specially prepared delivery room, the child in her belly is tossing her. The restless Naruto seemed to know what was about to happen. And the Kyuubi Nine-Tails in Kushina's body is unusually safe. Don't cry, don't make trouble. Even gasped. Cut. Women are just children. Nothing fancy. What it remembers is a special picture of the work that preceded this great continuation of life. I don't know if what the kid said is true or not. Boring, it wagged its tail. To be honest, it did prepare to make trouble when Kushina was produced. It even broke the seal. After all, according to its experience, the seal of a woman is extremely weak at this time. The same goes for Uzumaki Minato. Moreover, Uzumaki Kushina is not as powerful as Uzumaki Mito. If it is full of trouble, it must have a chance, but what if it goes out? The kid said it. If you dare to make a fuss, you will smash your head. Someone says this, I'm afraid Kurama will go straight up and take a bite of tailed beast bomb to let that person understand that this uncle is not good. But only that kid. I went out by myself, but I couldn't beat his big sword. False humans. Damn, this uncle will believe you once. There is no other way anyway. But what did the kid say about the accident? Squinting, Kurama looked puzzled. That kid is here, what else could be unexpected? Since there is no accident, as long as he keeps his promise, what should I eat after I go out? I have always heard Kushina say that the 3-color balls are delicious. I would also like to try it. Thinking about it, Tsunere's Kurama's mouth left crystal tears. I didn't expect Minato-sensei to be so anxious. Outside the delivery room, Bajian was leaning against the wall. Minato in front of him scurried from here to there like ants on a hot pan. Bai became a father for the first time, and Kushina's painful 1.7 tone came from time to time. Tension is inevitable. In charge of picking up the cattle is still the experienced Sarutobi Lake Biwa, who is a veteran of 3 generations of Hokage in this regard. The lady is quite experienced. Head in embarrassment, Minato had a worried look on his face. Every mother is great. Konoha does not have the conditions for caesarean section, and Uncle Snake has not studied the technology on this side, so it is painful. The degree is not what ordinary people can imagine. The long wait continues. 8 Swords embraced Zanpakuto and closed his eyes, feeling the changes in the Reiatsu in Konoha village all the time. Suddenly, the boy opened his eyes and looked in one direction. Then a figure rushed in front of him. He is one of the members of Anbu, codenamed Lai. Hyuga branch sent to Jonin in Anbu. The third. Codewording, _ Chapter 107. You can always trust Konoha Kenpachi. The fourth generation of adults, the minister. Hundreds of ninja troops from the unknown ninja village were found on the east side of Konoha. Kakashi Senpai has already led the Anbu ninja to go. Said seriously. Here we come. Eight Swords sneered. To be honest, he thought that the possible accident would be inside the village, but he didn't expect that Obito would use such a sneak attack. One wave after another. Lai just went down, and new information was sent again. Lord Hokage. An unknown enemy appears on the north side of Konoha. Report, there are also a large number of unknown enemies on the south side. Report, the patrol of the Uchiha clan on the east side has started a battle with the enemy. When the ninjas in charge of the orders appeared one after another, Minato's inner anxiety deepened. Bajian, I'll leave it to you here. I'll deal with those enemies. As Hokage, at this time he should appear in the place of war. Although the wife needs to accompany you during the production, Ying's responsibilities are like this. When the village is in danger, it must stand up. And there is his most trusted disciple here, he believes that there will be no problem. But when 04 Minato was about to leave, Bajian suddenly grabbed his hand. Though Shadow's responsibilities are important, you remember the teacher. You are more of a father. A husband. The family is not well protected, what about protecting the village? Shaking his head, Bajian fought and walked out. Also, you have to trust your subordinates. Every single one of them has the courage to sacrifice for Konoha. It's good to accompany the mistress here, I have everything. Once, when I showed up at the Anbu exit, you were the only one standing by my side. Turning his head to the side, Bajian smiled brightly, you give me a letter, and I'll give you back your brand new Konoha. After today, Konoha will be transformed. And Minato-sensei, remember what I once told you. You can always trust Konoha Kenpachi. Wait for my message. Sarutobi. At the entrance of the route base, there are still two old men staring at Shogi in a daze. Outside the village rang out, and the smile on Danzo's face became stronger and stronger. Are you still in the mood to play chess? You are the third generation of Hokage, why don't you protect the villagers? The plan has already started. When the first piece on the board fell, he seemed to have seen the end. This chess game, after all, he won. If Sarutobi looked at it. He had already arranged everything. What the hell did you do? The hand holding the chess piece trembled a little, and Sarutobi's face was ashen. Nothing but reordering of Konoha to get the village back on track. Danzo said lightly, I'm about to succeed, since you don't want to be Hokage, then I'll do it myself. The chess pieces fell heavily. The situation on the chessboard has undergone tremendous changes. The momentum of the two went up and down, but they didn't know that their actions all fell into the shadows. In the eyes, that's a chic pair of Mangekyo. Wars. The villagers watched everything in panic. But they were reassured that none of Konoha's guarding ninjas flinched, keeping pace. To rush to the outside of the village to defend against the enemy. And in the yard of Mitarashi's house in the heart of Konoha village. Mitarashi Anko, Kurenai Yuhi and the well-behaved kitty sit together. Bajian has already given orders, and this time there is no need to participate in the battle. In fact, the strongest among the three girls is Niyugito. Going out with such strength will not bring much help. At this moment, they are together waiting for the war to subside. The atmosphere was a little tense, the girls had concerns in their eyes and no one spoke. Suddenly. Wrong, Yugito looked at the door. A figure slowly falls. Two tails. With a mask and a hoarse voice, there is always a strong emphasis on him. Uchiha Obito. He appeared. But his target is Niyugito. The fighting continues outside the village, but for Obito it's just a way to get attention. Two tails and tails are his real goals. Come on. But just as the girls looked at each other vigilantly, the boy with the knife slowly walked out of the room. Came out. At this moment, the eyes of several people were on him at the same time. Knight 8 Swords. He is even there. Oh, yes, you actually know my goal. But after seeing the 8 swords, Obito was not shocked, instead he hugged his shoulders and laughed. What are you laughing at? Yibajian held the knife with a sneer on his face. I'm here just to test if you really see through my mind. If you're not here, Orway will take it. You are here, it means that there is only one 4th generation Hokage in Uzumaki Kushina. Obito, who only showed a Sharingan, stretched out his finger and pointed at the 8 swords, seeing your teacher with his own eyes. Your loved ones died in Konoha and nothing can be done. Boom. With a puff of smoke, the Obito in front of him disappeared without a trace. It's Shadow Clone. Yugito said in shock. Sister, take them to the Konoha refuge. Bajien was unmoved, and calmly ordered to walk out. Only Yugito, who was closer, heard what he was saying. He actually thought he was smart. Sorry Obito, I'm actually a shadow clone too and the main body is very difficult for you there. Wrong set. The Yibajian in front of him is also shadow clone, but his clone is enough to help fight the war outside the village of 290 Fu. Obito thought he had calculated everything, but he didn't know how well Bajian knew about him. 2 Tails and Kyubi, 9 Tails. Both are Akatsuki's goals. Although the tailed beasts need to be sealed one by one to Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, one tail is not so difficult to obtain, so one of his targets must be 2 tails. Didn't expect was that, with just one clone, Obito actually thought that it was him who was here in the Kyubi, 9 Tails rebellion because of his existence and the difficulty was escalated. But any possible problems have already been counted by the 8 swords. By the time he left, Obito had already lost. Konoha has been surrounded by enemies. To the surprise of the evacuated villagers, the head of the Uchiha clan actually led the clan. Rushing to the outside of the village without hesitation. Clansmen, the moment of glory for the Uchiha clan has come. Others only know that the Senju family is the founder of Konoha, but we Uchiha have been forgotten. Let those smashers see the peak combat power of the strongest clan in the Sengoku period. Fugaku's roar passed around, and people were shocked to find a black skeleton from the man. Rise slowly. The next moment, a high-pitched word echoed in the air. Kill. The village is now guarded by the arrogant and outrageous Uchiha clan. They stand up. Fourth more. Codewording, _ Chapter 108 The Roaring Kyubi, 9 Tails The Phantom Flash of the Knife That Ripped Apart Space. Father. Following behind Fugaku, Itachi was dead to kunai. It was the first time I saw him so sturdy. The stern father who really considers himself a Konoha. More than just the head of a clan. Now he has the temperament of the Uchiha clan to charge into battle, which makes Itachi deeply moved. Sword sang. What exactly did you tell your father? I'm more curious now. The entire Uchiha family, except for the children and the elderly, moved to the shelter and everyone else was dispatched. Such a united family has no conflicting opinions. The first time he really saw Jianzhang, Konoha's sprout, is coming to life. I've already seen it. Ever since Jianzhang shouted out the words, First Ninja Village, in the square. The sleeping Konoha has woken up. Not only the Uchiha clan, the Hyuga clan, the Ino Shikacho and those small clans had already spontaneously formed a team and rushed out of the village. Behind them is something they must guard. Such a Konoha. Such a village. Such a fight. Short of breath, closely following his father's footsteps, Itachi rushed forward without hesitation. Sword sang. I have always followed the light and never stopped. Until, become the shadow of light. Outside Konoha Hospital. Outside the special delivery room, Minato is in a hurry. But Bajian's words gave him enough confidence. He said that his letter will be exchanged for a brand new Konoha. Minato believed what he said and would do it. The minutes passed, and the anxious Minato was still hovering at the door of the delivery room. Straight away a bright cry of a baby came. The anxiety on his face turned into surprise and excitement. He opened the door and stood at the door, his eyes looked over. The weak Kushina was fascinated by the baby. I am a father. Every young father seems to go through this. Excited, he wanted to rush to Kushina's side, watch the new ox's birthday, and see his own son. But suddenly a shadow instantly appeared behind Uchiha Obito. He came here with full of anger and resentment. The calf of new life could not erase the pain in his heart. Such a false world has never been acknowledged by him. He wants revenge. Take revenge on the world that made him miserable. Just a split second, Minato and Kushina met the masked face. Pupil burst out. Just a breath, Kushina's eyes suddenly became confused, and then fainted. Mangekyo's demonic illusion was so caught off guard. The blurred Kamui made it easy for him to pass through Minato's bar at the door, and instantly grab the swaddling baby, and the nearby Sarutobi Lake Biwa is too late to block the fence. She doesn't have that power either. Swish. In the nick of time. The cold light of the sword light and kunai made Obito incarnate again to evade the attack. Waiting for you for a long time. Figure descended from the sky, picked up the knife and slashed at Obito, and he never left. Waiting for a chance to kill Obito in seconds. But unfortunately, the other party still reacted and turned on Kamui. Who are you? Minato, who successfully caught his wife and child, looked at each other vigilantly. You don't know me. Obito looked at Minato coldly. Minato frowned, looking at the other's Sharingan suddenly thought, you are Uchiha Madara. Sure enough, even if I stood in front of you, I still didn't recognize me. Yes, I am standing in front of you but I am no longer the boy I used to be. Obito smiled, oozingly. Yes, my name, Uchiha Madara. At this moment, the last hope in his heart disappeared. Such a false world is disgusting. Swish. Knife light flashed. Do you have the patience for that? A sneer, Obito turned to look at Yabajian and asked. Zanpakuto's attack failed again. Although he was a little surprised that the 8 swords were still here, Obito. It's too late to analyze so much. Destroy it. Konoha. Reach out and quickly hand seal. The art of psychic. Roar. At this moment, a thunderous roar resounded through Konoha. A huge body appeared out of thin air. The end, EPUB 9 tails, broke out. Roaring, it ran under control to the densely populated area of Konoha village. Mangekyo's demonic illusion tailed beast is irresistible, and for demonic illusion, Bajian has nothing to do. He doesn't have a blue dye template, so it's impossible to say things like shatter. Is very clear about this, so he only found EPUB 9 tails before, friendly reminder. What should not be done? The current EPUB 9 tails is in a controlled state, which is still some distance from the center. All he has to do is solve Obito's demonic illusion as EPUB 9 tails storms the center of Konoha to wreak havoc. It's not difficult. He was just preparing for it all. If he could, he would end Obito's life here. How does your pain relate to the world? The beginning, he was like attacking when Obito was unprepared and wanted to catch Naruto. Since it fails, it is to use the second plan. Turning his head, the breath on Bajian's body became more and more unstable. There was even a slight change in his voice. Those bloodshot eyes made Minato extremely worried. Teacher, take Mistress and Naruto away. The farther away the better. And don't be in a hurry to deal with the power tail. And this charm will be attached to the mistress immediately after returning. Shortness of breath, Bajian's hand holding the knife is shaking, and there is a looming figure on his chest. The black void is slowly forming. At the same time, the white mask on Bajian's face was extending from his body. At this moment, a terrifying spiritual pressure rose into the sky. Black and gold intertwined with devastating chakra. Then the light Jinchuriki column made all the villagers in Konoha raise their heads and looked over. There was only shock left in their hearts. What is this? Why is there a feeling of palpitations? 8 swords. Taking the spell thrown by the other party, Minato looked at it. The lines above are not clear, only one fairy character is particularly conspicuous. Fairy Talisman. A magical item that can revive even the dying, replenishing the lost vitality. System mall price is 1500 flat points. Before Kushina entered the delivery room, Bajian had prepared it in advance, just in case it was needed. What is this? Opening his mouth, Minato was about to say something, but he recalled what Bajian said before. You can always trust Konoha Kenpachi. Glanced at Kyubi Ninetails, who rushed towards the center of the village. Minato bit Kiba and disappeared in place. The village is in danger. Although I don't know what you're doing, you can't attack me with light alone. Obito looked at the changes of the 8 swords coldly. Although he was already apprehensive about the terrifying aura of the young man in front of him, he did not. Don't be afraid. With Kamui, what about the strongest attack? But what the hell is that scary, moneyed mask on his face and the hole in his chest? Hello. The breath gradually stabilized. To Konoha Hospital has become extremely depressing. Fortunately, the villagers had already transferred successfully before they started. Otherwise ordinary people would be in this oppressive atmosphere. Absolutely unbearable. With a soft shout, a huge pair of skeletons slowly condensed on the original Zanpakuto of the 8 swords. Quasi-Obito. What? Obito frowned and had a vague feeling that he had a different premonition. Way lost its effect. The surrounding space becomes extremely unstable. Nothing. Just want you to try it. Ping chopping after Lausiization. Space shock. The virtual flash of the sword that gathered all the Reiatsu of the 8 swords shoots a black Yuhi light under the flat cut. This moment. Zhou Wei's space collapsed instantly. Annihilation strikes. Virtual white template unlocked 15%. Wang Shu flashed, and came to a world that should not have appeared. The 5th. Code wording. Chapter 109 Kurama. Who dares to touch this uncle? Falling down. Do not. When the flat slashes that gathered all the Reiatsu of Yabajian turned into a flash attack. Everything in front of him was wiped out. Konoha Hospital behind itself, until the dense forest on the outskirts of Konoha, all disappeared. This is his strongest blow. A real force of destruction. A knife that consumes all the energy you can use. From start to finish, he was preparing for the blow. The ability to mobilize all energy in an instant, he is not yet a full master. First call on the instinct to activate the virtual white template. Then the spirit pressure of the evil spirit and the power of Zubai were intertwined. Zanpakuto are gathered in the chakra in the plus body. In the temporary stage, the strongest flat cut of the 8 swords. Obito. There is nothing in front of you except the empty ravine. Clang. Zanpakuto inserted into the ground. Bajian's body began to tremble from the distance. A feeling of weakness welled up in my heart, and it wasn't from physical weakness. It's the feeling of emptiness hollowed out by Reishi. It will take at least a few days to recover. But his purpose has been achieved. Kyubi Ninetails, who had stopped in the village, Hachiken smiled and breathed a sigh of relief. Ended. Bullshit power tail chaos. Sitting on the ground, Bajian yawned. Exhaustion is certain, although there are still some things to deal with, it is the right decision to rest for a while now. Just when Bajian just made a decision, he suddenly smiled bitterly. In the village of Konoha, a certain 313 soul fluctuations suddenly became strange. I said, Minato-sensei, are you too fast? With a sigh, Hachiken walked towards Konoha, dragging his somewhat tired body. But the physical weakness became more and more serious, and Bajian almost fell without paying attention. Jian sang. Suddenly, a figure appeared in front of him, and the familiar feeling surprised Bajian. I'll carry you. The enemies who attacked Konoha have been wiped out, so I'll come to see if I have some heart. Itachi looked back at the 8 swords. Although I'm a little embarrassed, Jianzang, it's really my turn to stand in front of you this time. Sleep long after being tired. Sleeping with your sister, things are not over yet. 8 swords turned Byakugan. Inside Konoha village. Kurama looked at the dissatisfied eyes of the people around him and wanted to flick his tail. Just about to move and hold back. The kid said, don't mess around. Tsunere snorted, and it chose a comfortable position to squat on the ground. But a man, ignoring its words, rushed over quickly. It looks like it wants to grab its pretty tail. You stay away from this, uncle. The dissatisfied Kurama stepped back, damaging several rooms by the way. Ah. It's not my fault. Something is wrong with Kyubi, 9 tails. Minato stared blankly at the huge-tailed beast. In fact, this is not right, since just after he settled Kushina and Naruto AEFI. Found out. As soon as the tailed beast, known as the set of hatred and malice, came out, it did not wreak havoc on Konoha. Except for the random bumping at the beginning when it was controlled, now demonic illusion has disappeared, and people are just old. He squatted there and didn't move. What's happening here? Are you preparing for some big move? Minato's head is full of question marks. It's no wonder Kushina was resting after receiving the talisman, and didn't tell Minato's story about the 8 swords and Kyubi, 9 tails, and she was far away that day. The exact circumstances are unknown. So, now Kyubi, 9 tails, is standing there breathing freely in front of everyone. 4th generation adults, we are ready. Unknown ninjas gathered around one by one. Whether to attack or not is a 4-generation sentence. Obviously Kurama saw through the thoughts of these people, and immediately Jong Kiba stood up. Who dares to touch this uncle? This uncle finally came out, and he still hit me. What if I really don't dare to fight back? Puffing out his mouth, a huge sphere slowly formed in front of Kurama. Tailed Beast Bomb, the representative attack skill of Tailed Beast, has taken shape. The imposing roar made Minato instantly tense, and then he rushed over without any hesitation. Seeing how Kyubi, 9 tails, wants to spin his tail and Tailed Beast Bomb, Minato looks serious. Hiraishin can transfer Tailed Beast Bomb. But if the body of Kyubi, 9 tails, is rotated to activate the difficulty of the Tailed Beast, the surrounding ninjas will die. No solution anymore. At this moment, the little son's eyes are determined. There is no time to hesitate. Hand seal with both hands. The mission of guarding the village made him stand up. Seal must be applied before Tailed Beast Bomb is complete. He is the Hokage of Konoha and it is his mission to protect the village. Even at the expense of cattle. Bajian, the village will be handed over to you. Sealing technique. The ghouls are sealed. Quote. Fuck. The seal of righteousness had just begun, and the huge ghost of death slowly appeared. The puzzling sentence is particularly harsh to hear. Teacher, at least you've had a few tricks with it and you're sealing it. I've already agreed with it. Didn't they make trouble? Hachiken riding on Itachi hurried, but in the end he was one step too late. Pointing to Liwei, Bajian said helplessly. Here it is. This kid. With a snort, Kurama of Tsunere slammed the Tailed Beast Bomb into his stomach. With a muffled sound, the gas began to extend toward Joe, and all the ninjas around covered their mouths in an instant. What's the taste? Eat shit. It smells bad. Oh, stupid humans. Did not expect it. Tailed Beast Bomb is fake. This uncle just wants to pretend. Come out to get some air and don't scare people. Uncle Ben feels uncomfortable. Who told you to beat the old man? Deserves to be smoked to death. This. Minato's mouth twitched. Seems that sometimes the hand seal speed is too fast, which is not a good thing. Confused, he looked at QB, Ninetails, who was squatting there, and looked at the ghost of death behind him. Minato was lost in thought. At this moment he understood. He seems to be empty. QB, Ninetails, as one's own. The scene seemed awkward. Bajian sighed and patted Itachi, jumping off him. For now, it's not too late. If the ceremony is completed, I'm afraid Minato will really be offended. Now, it's still too late. Hey, you can get out now. Unlike other people who can't see the ghost of death and can only faintly feel the oppressive atmosphere, the 8 swords of death can be seen clearly. He is the god of death. With Zanpakuto_. Something like the soul could not cover his eyes. Minato was taken aback by the low growl. 8 swords can actually see the god of death. Doesn't it mean that only the person who signed the contract can see it? Seping was provoked. The death god Zhang Kiba danced his claws and pulled out the handle to cut the soul. Getting ready for Minato. Swish. You ungrateful animal. The light shines on Zanpakuto, and the black moon Kiba that rises into the sky instantly cuts the god of death into 2 pieces. A piercing cry rose to the sky, and the ears of the ninjas who could not see the god of death were blocked. Finally, the shadow of death disappeared into the air. Sure enough, as expected. Exactly the same as Bajian guessed. As long as it is a soul body, Zanpakuto is a powerful nemesis. The Grim Reaper dissipated, and so did the feeling of being held captive, and Minato was already shocked. Know what to say. Boom and drop. After watching a scene, Kurama became lazy and rubbed several houses, and then his body began to gradually weaken. Tapered. Until it turned into the mini fox and ran to Bajian. Hey, kid. My uncle has kept his promise. When will you keep your promise? The cute fox stretched out his paws and asked. It seems that you didn't realize the seriousness of the problem. Didn't you get smaller before? You have to change now. Little, I broke something, don't you know? And, picking up QB, Ninetails' ears, he lowered it into the air like a chicken, and then put his mouth against the 2. Big ear. Boy's chest was high and he used all his strength to let out a roar. Who the hell told you to put tailed beast bomb to scare people? At this moment, Kurama seemed to hear the mountain and tsunami, and his eyes and feet stunned. The moment he closed his eyes, Bajian only heard whispers. I am not deaf. Gone. If it wasn't for this uncle, I couldn't do it for you. 6th more. Ask for flowers and tickets. Chapter 110 Shisui. Danzo, you're under arrest. The battle is over. With the concerted efforts of all tribes and ninjas, the surrounding ninjas who dared to invade Konoha have been wiped out. Not that the people on Konoha's side don't know how to leave a living mouth for interrogation. It was those ninjas who saw that the situation was over, and would rather die than be a prisoner, and did not want the information to leak out of their mouths. This is the fate of ninjas. Mission failure is often accompanied by death. Report to Lord Hokage, Lord Minister. The intruding enemy has been wiped out. Due to the stubborn resistance of the enemy, no survivors have been caught. Judging from the attributes of ninjutsu used by the enemy, it is impossible to determine the identity of the opponent. Kaden, Fire Style, Doden, Earth Style, Suiten, Water Style, Futon, Wind Style, and almost all of them, the corpses have been checked, and there is no ninja forehead before the action. The identity is extremely difficult to determine. Thousands of enemies were wiped out in this battle. Quote. Hearing Kakashi's report in front of him, Minato patted Hachiken on the shoulder with emotion. Konoha accomplished the task of guarding the homeland with minimal cost. But the significance of this battle is not only to protect the homeland on the bright side, but also to herald a serious battle. The kind of faith that keeps pace and never backs down is the true will of fire. In the fire of war, this first ninja village was reborn. The real first ninja village, every member is not afraid of death, dare to charge in front of the sun to block the enemy. This kind of momentum alone is enough to crush everything. Reporting continues. QB 9tails has passed out, but things are not over yet. The ninjas are cleaning up the mess, but Bajian's eyes are looking in the direction of Hokage Rock. Danzo, it seems that I won this game. The final piece of shogi fell, and Sarutobi lit his cigarette bag with a smile on his face. It's a tough duel. Until now, Sarutobi Hiruzen's heart was still beating wildly. Siege. War. QB 9tails broke out. Now that the fighting has subsided, the cheers from the Konoha Center let Sarutobi understand the final result. Konoha, still that Konoha. Danzo didn't speak, and at this moment, his face was terrifyingly gloomy. Failed. He didn't expect this result at all. Such a well-planned plan still failed. Uchiha Madara who contacted him didn't say it was absolutely foolproof. Standing up, Danzo wants to leave. Sarutobi stood in front of him in an instant, blocking the way to leave. You can't go. Put down the bong, Sarutobi said calmly. It's over, Sarutobi. I do lose, but this Konoha will die sooner or later in their hands. Danzo said coldly. Yes, the battle is over, but there are some things you haven't explained yet. Sarutobi takes a deep breath and goes into seriousness. Tell me, what the hell did you do? What have you done? I don't know if it's because of the failure, the bag is a little stiff, or if he doesn't think Sarutobi can do anything to him. This guy suddenly laughed. Sarutobi, Sarutobi. What have I done all these years? You really don't know. Why is Tsunade the only one left in the Senju clan, and why did Hatake Sakumo die of those things that Orochimaru studied? Don't you know all about it? With a crazy look in his eyes, Danzo seems to know that from today, he has no chance to turn over at all. But that didn't stop him from venting his resentment towards Sarutobi. He is provocative. And relying on it, Sarutobi is still soft-hearted. You're not fit for Hokage at all. The old man in the dark is the root of Konoha. Everything you do is for the sake of the village. I will not hesitate to cooperate with other shinobi villages in order to correct Konoha's direction. Danzo looked indifferent. I'm not afraid to tell you. Among the ninjas who besieged Konoha, in addition to other shinobi villagers, the old man's roots also participated in the attempt to retrieve the Jinchuriki column power of the two-tailed people who belonged to the village, but unfortunately it failed. The old man already knew all the plans and arranged everything. He actually took action against the village. Sarutobi stared blankly at the old man in front of him. His change made Sarutobi unacceptable. Now, I've told you everything I should have told you. On his face, Danzo walked towards Sarutobi Hiruzen step by step. But can you really hit me? Sarutobi, your weakness led Konoha to its demise. You are not fit to be a Hokage. After repeating what he said before, Danzo's heart suddenly felt a little more happy. Like now, you would never really shoot me. And even let me go and hide the darkness from all this sunlight. It's not the first time you've done this kind of thing anyway, like watching Orochimaru kill so many Anbu ninjas and then watch him go. Let go of Orochimaru. Sarutobi opened his mouth with pain on his face. The hand holding the bong loosened. Can I get my hands on it? Can all this be made public? Like letting go of Orochimaru. Teacher, what would you do if it were you? Sarutobi's body trembled, and he wanted to turn back and attack Danzo, but when he shot, the ferocity disappeared. He's an old friend of mine for decades. Someone closer than Orochimaru. Everything this old man does is for the sake of the village. Forward past Sarutobi, Danzo shouted again like crazy. And these words made Sarutobi's eyes sparkle. Confused with kunai, he turned around. But don't wait for him to speak. Mutant cow. A pair of Yuhi's Sharingan appeared in front of Danzo. Uchiha Shisui. Arranged here by 8 swords to monitor Sarutobi and Danzo's important pieces. One of the members of the original route. No. A roar, Shisui recalled what he had done at the roots. Everything you do is not for the village, but for the Hokage's location. No one can deal with people in the village in the name of the village. This is what the captain taught me. Danzo, your roots are wrong, and it was the 8 swords that took me out of it. Crunching his fists, Shisui's anger reached its peak. He heard clearly what the 2 people said just now. Sake of the village, the Senju clan perished. For the sake of the village, the respected senior Hatake Sakumo died. For the sake of the village, let the roots attack Konoha now. Take a deep breath. Shisui looked solemn. It is not the current root that protects the village, the original will of the root will be inherited by Yi Shao. Now, you go to meet Lord Hokage and Lord Captain with me and admit everything wrong. 3 Tomo slowly turned, the new Mangekyo with a strong sense of oppression. Shisui stepped forward and extended his hand. Night Owl Shisui is here. Danzo, you're under arrest. First more. Code wording. Regarding the update, the small author will try to code words, but I don't want to be too watery, so the outbreak is limited. But will definitely try my best to code words. Gon-san. Chapter 111 Susanoo, Shimura Danzo tied to the disgraceful Jinchuriki column. The old man won't let you go either. As soon as Shisui's voice fell, Sarutobi moved slowly behind him. One after the other, Danzo has no room to escape. If you want to leave, you must instantly defeat one of them. But he was stupid because he chose Shisui for this target. Kunai in his hand, Danzo's body rushed forward. As I said, you're under arrest. Shisui Mangekyo turned slowly. Arrest is obvious. He wants to seize the other party and send him to the place where he should go to accept everyone's trial. The root has completely disappeared from today. The night owl of the new cattle has completely replaced the meaning of root. Following Danzo's movements. But Shisui's anger has risen to the extreme, and he is eager to take Danzo and send him to Hokage and Bajian. Getting him to confess what he's done over the years. There is only one way for 053 to subdue the former leader so quickly. The green skeleton rose from the ground, and the roaring Susanoo left only shock in the eyes of Danzo and Sarutobi Hiruzen behind him. Susanoo. This is synonymous with destruction. Uchiha clan left by the 2nd generation Hokage, only the Uchiha clan who opened Mangekyo Sharingan can control the powerful moves. And Shisui not only turned on Mangekyo, he even mastered this trick. Ding! Accompanied by a crisp sound. The famous scene appeared. But this time, Susanoo Nope, who broke Kunai, came from Uchiha Shisui. Bitterless Susanoo. Even if in front of him is Susanoo Nope, who claims to be destroyed, he dares to try the defensive power of that thing. This is Danzo's confidence. Really. The defense is amazing. Of greed flashed in his eyes, and Danzo took a deep look into Shisui's eyes. Shisui, who is famous in the Third Ninja World War, is good at what he is good at other than the blinking technique. A trance, Danzo's body fell limply. This time, Shisui didn't give Danzo any chance to activate Izanagi. In just a moment, the super strong pupil power directly lost the chance for the opponent to resist. In the original work, if Shisui could ruthlessly launch such a powerful demonic illusion, he wouldn't be caught off guard by Danzo. Manipulating Susanoo Nope's palm and pinching the opponent in his hand, Shisui looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen. The 3rd generation of Hokage. Danzo just now made Shisui feel a little uncomfortable. It turned out that he already knew what Danzo was doing. Senju. Hatake Sakumo. Orochimaru. It's just that he didn't say it and didn't stop it. This is not a qualified Hokage. But just when he turned around and wanted to shoot Danzo, he showed the courage that a Hokage should have. Contradictory old man. Shaking his head, Shisui kept himself from thinking about those things. Konoha has a lot of people with better minds than him, and it is his duty to hand over Danzo to them. 3 generations of adults, please come with me. Didn't ask if Sandai would like to go with him to Minato, be a witness or something. Instead, the tone of, please come with me, is enough to represent Shisui's disappointment with this old man. Ah, Konoha. How much unseen suffering has this village suffered? And what kind of pain did those companions before the root bring to deal with their village? Do people at the root really have no feelings? No. It's just that I hide that feeling in my heart and I don't want to feel it after seeing too much darkness. If I hadn't been taken out of the roots by the 8 swords, would I end up like them? Are you going together? Sarutobi gave a wry smile, and finally reached this point. Looking at the pinched old man, Sarutobi didn't know what to say. Power will kill you after all. Danzo. Come on. Looking back, Bajian showed a gratified smile. Shisui finally woke up. Give Danzo a tough one. Looking around at the ninjas who were sorting out the endgame, Hachiken narrowed his eyes. That being the case, take this opportunity to completely remove the hidden dangers of Konoha. Sky Burial. He waved at Yamato, who was excitedly preparing to build a house, and Bajian had already made a decision. A ninja village that wants to grow up completely. Wall of merit is one thing, and there is also shame on the other. Jinchuriki column. If you have merit, you will be rewarded, and if there is too much punishment. This is the most basic thing. After the credits and faults were made public, the aggressive ninjas worked harder and had ideas in their hearts. We'll settle down the wall of merit and disgrace Jinchuriki column. Both are indispensable. Minister 0 inches. The cute Yamato doesn't know why. While QB Ninetails didn't do much damage, it stomped over a lot of houses along the way. As the only ninja in the village who knows Mokuden wood style, he didn't dare to say anything else. Building a house was his excitement. Asterisk. As long as he has enough chakra, he can make a street in one day. Don't be in a hurry to build a house. Set up a Jinchuriki column for me on the merit wall, and then tie the chain. I will use it later. Shoulder. Hachiken hit Zanpakuto, and looked at Minato with Kurama, who was looking around with narrowed eyes. Teacher, it's time to deal with some people. Minato frowned, but said nothing. On the contrary, Kakashi next to him was suddenly stunned. The last time he was next to the merit wall, he heard Xiao Xiao once say the same thing. Some people are left to this day just to be useful, not to be dealt with. Is it time? Also, about my own father. His breathing was a little short, and his hands were shaking. What is the truth? When the green Susanoo slowly came to the central square from below the Hokage rock, the ninjas who were busy rebuilding Joyoung raised their heads in unison. The Uchiha family. Hyuga clan. Ino Shikacho. Anbu, elite. And Namikaze Minato, the 4th generation Hokage. The 8 swords stood at the forefront. Approaching step by step, Shisui controlled Susanoo to be able to carry Danzo, and Sarutobi, who followed behind him, finally came to the open space in front of the merit wall with a wry smile. Lord Hokage, Lord Minister. 5.7 inches. Subordinate, there is important information to report to you. Susanoo grabbed Danzo and Shisui got down on one knee. The original root leader Shimura Danzo, collaborating, harming, betraying Konoha, the evidence is clear. Please decide. Collaborating with the enemy. At this moment, the ninjas were stunned. What is Shisui talking about? Senseless. Even Minato was stunned. Only the 3 generations behind Susanoo stood up and sighed. This matter. Can I go to the Hokage office? No. Stretched out his hand and dropped the tail he was holding, and the llama who pretended to be asleep rolled around on the ground several times, turning over Byakugan unhappily. Tie him to me. The second. Please rest assured about the handling of the code word Ingem Karama. 1. Chapter 112 The One Who Walks in the Dark. Interrogation in the Square. Or because of curiosity, it seems to know something. The surrounding ninjas and villagers gathered around. It seems that something is going to happen. The wooden stake had been pulled out by Yamato, and Shisui pressed Danzo directly on it without any politeness. With the chains entangled, Danzo, who was still trapped in demonic illusion, was tightly bound. You can say it. Standing in front of Danzo, Hachiken inserted Zanpakuto into the ground and looked at Shisui. Shimura Danzo. At the beginning of the follow-up, his original intention to establish the route was indeed to contribute his own strength by hiding in the route. Also to prove that he is no worse than Sarutobi Hiruzen. And a village really needs such a department to deal with shady problems. But his path slowly turned crooked. Obtaining favorable information from the fake corpses that could lead the way in the Second Ninja World War, the Civil War of Rain started. Now, the desire for the Hokage location has completely blinded the eyes. He is a man in darkness, and has completely lost his light. It has long since fallen to its roots. But it's all about Danzo's slowly changing personality. There are also historical issues. That is the education of the second-generation Hokage Senju Tobarama for his subordinates. 4. Senju Tobarama, with all the qualities of a good Hokage, a true political genius. Studied the forbidden technique, has a unique way of thinking about the development of the village. Where there is light there is darkness. Treat people in the village with kindness or cruelty. Sarutobi inherited the kindness of Senju Tobarama. Danzo, on the other hand, inherits the kind of ruthlessness that can achieve his goals by unscrupulous means. Sarutobi is the ever-sunny Hokage, Danzo is the root of decisive killing in the dark. But the two disciples did not get a degree. Yes. A benevolent man watched his old friend do things that harmed Konoha and turned a blind eye, and could even be merciful enough to let go of Orochimaru, who had harmed more than 60 innocent children in Konoha. Other is so hot that in order to maintain Konoha's stability, it is calculated that only Tsunade is left in the Senju clan. That's his teacher's ethnic group, or the aftermath of Senju, who founded Konoha village and pacified the troubled times. Even so, the existence of that clan only threatens Konoha's stability. He can deal with it. The Senju clan has mysteriously fallen, and it is the predecessor of the Uchiha clan. That family, the status in Konoha is too high. 2 generations of Hokage, unimaginable feats, have brought the prestige of that family to a certain extent. Even within the Senju clan, there is a slight that the Hokage position did not continue to allow the Senju clan to continue. It's human nature. In order to eradicate the consequences, Danzo made a decision. So the Senju family disappeared. He even made great contributions to Konoha afterward. Hatake Sakumo, the commander-in-chief of the Second Ninja World War, was forced to commit suicide just because a small mission failed. Besides, there are many unseen things. When Shisui stood in front of everyone and said what he heard at the entrance of the route, people are shocked. The whole square was silent. This kind of thing is simply unacceptable. Even more impossible to tolerate. The decline of the Senju clan has something to do with the people who are considered to be the high-ranking Konoha. Missing Nino Orochimaru, still in touch with Danzo. Even what happened to Konoha this time, Danzo knew early on. Not only remained silent and said nothing, but even sent members of the route to join the attacking team. Is this even human? After the calm, there is endless anger. Ah! A sigh came from Sarutobi Hiruzen's mouth. He didn't expect things to turn out this way. Shisui said it all. Is it really convenient to make this kind of thing public? Minato, what do you think? No, not Minato. It is the 8 swords of the night. Sarutobi smiled bitterly and looked at the not-so-tall figure. Wall of Merit and Disgrace Jinchuriki column, it's really your character. Be better to take Danzo down for a slow interrogation. Why would you say such a thing on this occasion? Sarutobi Hiruzen could never understand the mind of the Eight Swords. Can't even try to understand. Perhaps, in his opinion, maintaining Konoha's apparent stability would be extremely satisfying. But Bajian understands that today's Kyuubi, Nine-Tails rebellion is over. The villagers and ninjas in Konoha need a target. Just like Naruto in the original. There is always someone to come out with hatred in this disaster. You compare yourself to darkness, then this hatred is yours to bear. The premise is, do you have this kind of determination and perseverance? As confident as Naruto, the whole world should be blackened by him, but he has not been blackened. That spirit is the most admirable. He deserved Danzo. The self-proclaimed darkness of the ninja world. You simply ignore Obito and Black Zetsu. And in addition to the above-mentioned things, there are some things that may arouse even more anger. Drawn out, Hachiken walks towards Shimura Danzo under the angry gazes of the villagers and ninjas. Raised high and dropped heavily. A click, the bandage on Danzo's body fell instantly. Together with the arm that fell to the ground. Above that, the still extremely unstable Senju Hashirama cells are wriggling disgustingly. This arm is Orochimaru's transformation of Danzo when he left Konoha. At this moment, there is no dense Sharingan on it, and a small sapling will appear from time to time on the cells that are not suppressed by Sharingan. This is the original Mokuden wood style. Danzo, who is caught in demonic illusion, has no way to suppress the terrifying cells. Baijing Uchiha clan has not been destroyed, and Danzo has not so many 3 tomo available to him to release Izanagi. And the source of this arm is Orochimaru's experimental subject Uchiha letter. It's just a small experiment by Orochimaru. Rao is so, the unstable Hashirama cells on it have already made the ninjas widen their eyes in anger. No one can tolerate doing experiments with the remains of the first generation. As long as you're not blind, you know that what Shisui said just now that Danzo and missing Nino Orochimaru are still in contact is true. It's not just them who are angry. When the bandages wrapped around Danzo's eyes fell, the 3 tomo Sharingans were particularly dazzling. Fugaku's fists rattled. 3 tomo clansmen in the clan have so far not been leaked except that Kakashi inherited Obito's Sharingan. The only possibility, 670, is that Danzo had their graves. What the heck is on this guy? The Uchiha clan was ninja present, but there was one less witness from the Senju clan. Zanpakuto went down with a few knives, and Danzo's remaining arms and legs were all cut off. Pain and blood brought Danzo back from demonic illusion in an instant. But everything in front of him made him despair. Under the knife effect of the flat slashing feature began to invade his soul, and even his only 3 tomo Sharingan under the chakra disturbance could not help him launch Izanagi. Take your time and enjoy it until she comes back. Those who walk in the dark must have the consciousness to endure the darkness. I don't know if you have it or not. Hitting Zanpakuto, Bajian yawned and turned away. After going through so much today, he needs to rest and recharge. The unrest is over. But the chain reaction of the Kyuubi, Nine-Tails, upheaval has only just begun. He still has a lot to do. Example, those who attacked Konoha must pay the price. These eyes do not belong to you. Not caring about other people's eyes, Fugaku walked up to Danzo step by step and smashed the 3 tomo down. In the original book, Danzo took Shisui's eyes by relying on the Izanagi released by the Sharingan to change the situation in an instant. The angry eyes of the surrounding villagers and ninjas slowly gathered. Danzo's heart was beating wildly. He knows that retribution has come. Then it's time for self-inflicted consequences. The third. Codewording. Chapter 113 next time. Danzo, never give way. The wind in early autumn was a little bleak. October 11th, early morning. In the central square of Konoha, in the first half of the night, I went from trembling to anger in my chest. The villagers and ninjas have been through a lot. And now, those people have vented enough to go home to rest and wait for the bright 1010 to rebuild the house that Kurama inadvertently trampled on. The shameful Jinchuriki column next to the wall of glory, Danzo's blood is still flowing. He won't die, at least not yet. Don't underestimate the life force that Senju Hashirama has left on him. But the price of living is to endure the bite of the cells being gradually swallowed, and the feeling of weakness tormented by the torment of the flat slashing characteristic on the soul. Unable to move. You can't even kill yourself. He finally understood why the 4 generations of Yingying acted so well behaved during the negotiation. Not wanting to resist. He can't. Reikage can't do that, let alone him. The bleak autumn wind and pain kept Danzo awake. The more darkness you carry, the harder it will be to bear when retribution comes. Danzo's heart is almost insane. It's the first day. He's on the brink of collapse. A footstep approached suddenly. Moving his head laboriously, Danzo saw a familiar figure. The old guy who played shogi with him at the entrance of the route. Sarutobi Hiruzen. Konoha's 3rd generation Hokage. Someone who has never won in his life. Itachi once said something very true. A person only knows what kind of person he is when he is about to die. For example, a real man, Kisame Hoshigaki, would rather be torn to pieces by a shark than send intelligence to the enemy before he died. 107 sang, maybe I'm not so useless. This is the swan song of the ghost shark. It seems that Danzo now also understands what he has done in this life. Contributions may be there, but more than credit. If you don't go to the merit wall next to it, then this shame Jinchuiki column is also a way to be remembered. A self-deprecating smile, Danzo's hoarse voice came. Are you mocking me, Sarutobi? Sarcasm. Sarutobi shook his head lonely. The old people withered one after another, like fallen leaves in the wind. Let me say, since the death of Tobarama-sensei, only Mirror understands me best besides you. Menyon and Kaharu are still a little short after all. Standing in front of the impersonal Danzo, Sarutobi said with emotion. We're all getting old, Danzo. Although I really want to scold you now, I tell you not to try to change anything before I say anything, and it's good to watch the future generations become strong Konoha. But those words are meaningless now. Gaze shifted from Danzo's body to the air. In the early morning of early autumn, the stars in the sky are still so bright. A shooting star passed slowly, like a dying life. Danzo, I know my flaws as well as yours. The two of us complemented each other and Konoha really went strong in the beginning. But slowly, we all changed. Sigh, an old tear ran down Sarutobi's eyes. I am getting weaker and kinder and you are getting colder. That's why it became what it is today. You will be remembered, and I can't even climb the merit wall. A wry smile, Sarutobi took out a bottle of wine from behind, opened the bottle and brought it to Danzo's mouth. As it is now. I still don't want to see you tortured like this, old man. I want to give you a ride. Did you see it? Danzo opened his mouth, but what he wanted to say didn't come out after all. Give me a ride. Danzo smiled, opened his mouth, bit the bottle, raised his head and poured it in. The liquid in one breath, Danzo let go of the bottle, panting. Sarutobi. If you give me another chance, Mr. Tobarama will let you down. I, Danzo, will never give way. Nor will I hesitate for a second. Dressed roughly, Danzo roared as he watched the pop across the sky. The old man is Shimura Danzo. Even if I die, my blood will flow into the land of Konoha, and let my blood nourish the roots of Konoha. Ah! The roar was followed by a painful moan. A generation of ninjas who walked in the dark came to an end. You go, I'll watch this Konoha. When I die, I will tell you what I saw. We're really getting old. Out to close Danzo's eyes, Sarutobi turned away. Perhaps, the one who understands him best is still Danzo. It's a pity that the two didn't really talk to each other about their inner thoughts until they were dying. Shook his head. The lonely background is the only scenic line in the entire central square. A touch of fish maw white in the east slowly emerged. The night has passed. The new cow life continues. Ahead is bright and warm. Rain country. It's still the same scene as before. Pattering rain washed the ground. The mystery of a Megakure village is still so unbearable that one cannot help but want to find out. Inside a dark cave. The terrifying howl made the scalp go numb. Inside the cave, white Zetsu emerged from the ground one by one, and merged again and again into the painful body on the bed. On the figure, the wriggling body made it painful to look at it. Uchiha Obito. He is still alive. But worse than death. At the moment of death did not make him turn the tide that Uchiha Madara had left behind. The spare Sharingan that came has turned off white. The black flickering directly left less than a third of his body remaining. If not transferred here with the last chakra, desperately make up with the vitality of dozens of white Zetsu. The life that has been lost is probably already dead. Izanagi. The life-saving skill of the Uchiha clan. The black flash came quickly, and the destructiveness was even more outrageous. Kamui's recovery after that knife, he would really have been wiped out to ashes. Not even the ashes are left. Rao is so, his soul damage is the most terrifying trauma. Another point of being able to survive is that his original damaged body was made of Hashirama cells doped with it. White Zetsu instead, or you will die. Goodly Jiao Zanpakudo, beheading is not just life. And soul. The pain caused by the broken soul is the most terrible. Even if the body is supplemented by white Zetsu, the wounds of the soul still cannot be repaired. What kind of destructive power is this? It can really cause a momentary space distortion. Hospital bed, Black Zetsu stuck his head out in disbelief and watched Obito roll over in pain. Kamui is cracked. No, it was a brief space warp with a powerful enough attack that sealed Kamui's blur. That kid. Who the hell is that? Fourth more. Code wording to talk about the emotional drama that everyone is concerned about. Dads, it's really not gay, and it won't be a motherfucker. The age of the protagonist is here, and the girl who picks up is also young, so I want to grow up and pick up girls. Don't worry, there will be a lot of emotional scenes in the back. Danzo, the little writer himself, thinks giving him the decency he deserves. Sarutobi's words will end with a glorious ending. Code word. Chapter 114. This uncle fights with you. Ah. Although it is early autumn, sneezing is not normal for Bajian. The sword-wielding practice of the daily mission continues. His physical fitness also became stronger with the increase in the number of swings. Therefore, it is obviously impossible for a cold to happen to Bajian. Of course, there is still some emptiness in the body. Reiatsu is still recovering. The consumption of black and virtual flashes that day was still a bit large. After all, he swung the sword with all his strength, and the 8 swords believed that even Uchiha Madara's complete body, Susanoo Noppe, would still be split open. This sneeze. It means someone is talking about themselves. Lying on the reclining chair, the maid kitten next to him paused, obviously frightened by his sneeze. I thought I wasn't being served well enough. 2. In the early autumn weather, she didn't need to fan the other party. You go on. Bajian waved his hand and didn't care. Now he is resting, and his next move will begin when his body is almost healed. Kurama, who is lying on the reclining chair and eating 3 color balls, is obviously a little uncomfortable. Is this ball still edible? Although human sneezing is not as strong as a tailed beast, it still feels a little disgusting. Licking his lips, Kurama fell into thought. The little maid next to her, and the second tail in her body, fell into contemplation together. 283 OMG. Is this really QB? 9 tails. Don't doubt it, it really is. 2 tails said in amazement. When did the tyrannical, Proud, outrageous QB, Ninetails turn into a well-behaved fox. And also take the initiative to jump over to give humans a hand. Is this still QB, Ninetails? Really? Don't speak out, travel again. Just when Neo was shocked, Kurama's words suddenly reached its ears. QB, Ninetails, has a bad relationship with Aikyo. Because it always uses the number of tails to measure its strength. Tailed Beast Bomb can still be released after a day and a half of brewing. After all, everyone will use ninjutsu. But Erway was not interested in these. As a female tailed beast, she didn't want to argue about that either. So overall the relationship with QB, Ninetails, is good. I just didn't expect that Kurama to be so quiet. Yulu shook his head in shock. No way, you are also a tailed beast. You should know that if this uncle fights with him, he will probably die miserably. Kurama said angrily. Do you think that as a tailed beast, you are willing to give humans a hand? It was forced, otherwise there would be no snacks. Also, the gourd hanging on the waist of this kid is not good enough to be spicy, but it is very enjoyable to drink ergotu. To get those things, there is one condition. Be good. Actively stretched out his head and arched Bajian's arm, someone in the night who understood it calmly threw the wine gourd to the other party. Kurama before when he sealed the space in Kushina's body. Have a drink. Have a chat. That's who should be. Well, although it's a bit humiliating, it really feels good to be free again. But this kid doesn't seem so outrageous now. That's why the uncle is used to him. Seeping that in order to save face for himself, Kurama sullenly said ergotu calmly. Don't look at what my uncle is like now. When he bullies me in the future, my uncle will still be so angry that he doesn't even know him. Yugito sneered and leaned to the side of Bajian's face. Tailed beasts communicate with each other, and the human Jinchuriki column force can hear them clearly. Master, just now QB, Ninetails, said that he will rebel in the future. Without any hesitation, Yugito sold leeway directly for a better life in the future. My uncle fought with you. Kurama, who was squatting on the ground and drinking, was furious. He was about to raise his small paws and rush up to fight Yugito, but he was dragged into the air by Bajian's ear. Rebel. Bajian looked at it calmly, and grabbed the wine gourd easily. In his opinion, raising a tailed beast is similar to raising a dog. Of course, this dog is very spiritual. And eat a lot. Out for a few days AEC, and my face is already round. Don't dare. Kurama's tail twitched for a moment, and then he stared at Yugito with indignant eyes. You travel again, when this guy next to you grows up, and when you put your man Jinchuriki column on the Kong to do that kind of disgusting tailed beast thing, remember to make a little movie for me. This uncle wants to make the video public. Swish. Yugito's face becomes so hot with Yuhi. This report doesn't seem to work. When the time comes, we will change it. This uncle will give you Senju Hashirama, the god of ninjas, and the 4th generation Hokage. So disgusting. Yugito's face was completely Yuhi's neck. The hands that were holding the fan were turning white, obviously very angry. Candid video. Why didn't she know that the tail beast had this function? And that's not the main thing. The most important thing is who stipulated that the maid will be. By that in the future. Who rules? Yugito growled inwardly. It seems that you really can't run away in the future. It is estimated that when he grows up and you have been a maid for so many years, it will take a little trouble for others to be homesick. Should no one want it? Erway kindly comforted. Seeing QB Ninetails' eyes and Yugito's eyes rubbing against each other, Bajian was a little stunned. He really can't hear the communication between the human Jinchuriki column force and the tailed beast. But just by looking at this fellow's eyes, I instinctively felt something was wrong. Well. Whatever. QB Ninetails still looks pretty cute, and it's not bad to have a lick when you have nothing to do. Turning his eyes slightly, Bajian suddenly remembered something and dragged Kyubi, Nine Tails, to him and looked at him. Let's discuss, it's good for you, me and this village. Discuss. According to this kid's usual style, shouldn't it be a direct threat? Tai narrowed his eyes, instinctively aware that something was wrong. Mr. Minato is known as Yellow Flash, but the current Yellow Flash is a little bit worse. Eight Swords said lightly, in addition, there is Naruto. Kyubi, Nine Tails, is almost nothing. I ask you, do you want to beat up Uchiha Madara, the one who controls you, in the future? Beat up Uchiha Madara. Kyubi, Nine Tails' eyes gradually brightened. It really wanted to beat him, but he couldn't. Also, do you want people in this village to call you Lord Kyubi, Nine Tails, respectfully? Holding the fat chin of the tail, Bajian's voice was bewitching. But the sense of danger has even made Kyubi, Nine Tails, almost throw out a few drops of urine. What do you want my uncle to do? Just say it. Send you into someone who really understands you, but the difference is that you are still free to move around, and I have a way to do that. Fifth. Code word ing, ask for a wave of flowers and tickets. Chapter 115. If he moves my people, I will slaughter him. The trust between tailed beasts and humans. It is impossible to really form that kind of bond just because of the few words of Eight Swords. Especially Bajian is not Naruto, and mouth done has never been his strong point. He is better suited to speak with a knife. If you are unhappy, you will be directly hacked to death, and you will pass the wine gourd to the eye. If you drink it, you will know it. If you get his approval and drink another drink next time, you will be a friend. Simple people. Simple rules of doing things. Therefore, Kyubi, Nine Tails, naturally cannot directly promise. Those who are truly recognized by it are not what they say, but what they do. Eight Swords did not force it. Destiny, after all, will become a well-behaved husky in the future. There is no fate, and there is nothing to fight. Everything depends on creation. Faith is cultivated slowly, and it's only been a few days since we got to know each other. It's not bad that llamas can stay at home and look after the hospital. As for the impact of the tailed beast leaving the body on Kushina, it has been restored to its original state with the help of the fairy talisman. Now she is a great mother. The Kyubi, Nine Tails, upheaval is over. But Konoha also has some new problems. Naturally, Minato thought of his excellent disciple. In Hokage's office, Zanpakuto, who was stroking him, seemed to be thinking about something. Shimura Danzo is dead, so he gave the villagers an explanation. Leaving Hokage's seat, Minato said while sitting beside Hachiken. If you die, you will die. It's not always like this for 3 generations. It's not bad to be able to send Danzo back to the west this time. Yawned, the youth lacked interest. He is too lazy to listen to this kind of thing. If the 3 generations don't do it, he will cut Danzo's soul one by one, and then store it in Zanpakuto, so that he can understand that there will be no peace after death. But since he is dead, there is no need to think about those issues. Also, there is something wrong with Konoha's medical system. The hospital has been completely scrapped because of the knife Kyubi, Nine Tails, made with you. Now Konoha's medical minister can't keep up with the ability. I went to see it, and the command is not so smooth, so. Minato said with some embarrassment, it seems that after Tsunade, one of the Sanins, left, Konoha's medical level plummeted, and there is no real medical ninja. Do you want Tsunade to go back to the village? Eight Swords suddenly realized that Konoha's Tsunade is quite powerful, if not to mention medical ninjutsu, that is, the amount of milk. Nodded slightly, when I'm done with this matter, I'll try my luck with her. After all, Danzo is dead now, and it can be regarded as an explanation for the Senju family. Minato breathed a sigh of relief. It was good that Tsunade-sama could return to the village. But what did Bajian mean when he was busy with the matter just mentioned? Is there anything else important? Have you figured out the identities of those corpses? With his head tilted, Bajian's eyes are full of light, and this is the question that he is most concerned about. Being beaten and not fighting back is not the character of Bajian. Not the character of Konoha now. The root members launched by Danzo are only a small part of the attacking team, and the real culprit must have other people involved in addition to the white Zetsu brought by Obito. It's hard to investigate, there are no obvious features, and the ninjutsu used is also miscellaneous, like. Closing his mouth, Minato gave a bitter voice. It's as if the other 4 ninja villages were united and sent to attack Konoha together, right? With a sneer, Bajian's face was full of killing intent. The only thing Obito can command is the village of Kurigakure in the land of water. After all, after Rin, the 4th generation Mizukage Yagura of Kurigakure village became the new 3-tailed Jinchuriki column force. Getting Yagura to send someone to attack Konoha was easy for him. But in places like Kurigakure village, there are very few ninjas with other attributes of Grandmaster other than Suiten, water style. So in addition to the roots, Kurigakure village, White Zetsu, these 3 known invading enemies. There are other ninja villages involved. 8 Swords locked this participant in the Land of Wind and Land without hesitation. As for the Kingdom of Thunder, unless he really wants to die, Raikage, the 4th generation, will never make trouble when he knows Konoha's strength. Especially now that the fighting strength of Kumogakure village has not recovered, he is even more afraid to make such a move. Therefore, the goal of revenge has been determined. The country of water, the country of wind, and the country of earth. I really don't know what kind of conditions Obito convinced them. However, the majesty of the first ninja village is definitely not something that this group of trash can provoke. It seems like it seems, but Bajian, you should understand that in the absence of direct evidence, we can only swallow this result. There is no goal of revenge. Minato said helplessly. Although the loss this time was small, many more people came out of the heroic soul monument on the merit wall. Those were heroes who charged forward and sacrificed their lives for Konoha. Why not? 8 Swords raised his eyebrows and stood up to fight Zanpakuto. Bajian, calm down. Minato put his hand on his disciple's shoulder. I'm just as angry as you, but Konoha has never had this kind of direct revenge. And if we take action, I'm afraid, causing changes in the entire ninja world. The impact is simply too great. Although Minato believed that his disciples could let those heroes who sacrificed their lives rest in peace, but even if he wanted revenge, he had to take it step by step. I have a question, Mr. Minato. Turning around, Bajian looked at him seriously. Why, Konoha has never fought the border and stepped on the soil of another country. In addition to the Rain Country, whether it is the First Ninja War or the Third Ninja War is just a bit of defense against foreign enemies. Even when the battle is in Konoha's favor, instead of pursuing pursuit, choose peace talks instead. Minato froze, lost in thought. After a few seconds, he gave his answer. Because of resistance, Konoha has already paid a heavy price, especially the multi-party battles of the Third Ninja World War made Konoha even worse. Under that condition, Konoha has no capital to fight again. No. 8 Swords sighed slightly. This is a question of the way of thinking, a very simple example. Your words, Mr. Minato, are called Yellow Flash in the Third Ninja World War. You can easily get to the frontier, kill their people, and let them know that Konoha is not to be messed with. Let them know the price to pay for invading the Fire Nation. But you didn't do that. After the situation stabilized, you decisively chose peace talks. I understand that if I do that, the enemy will be defeated. But, so what? Hachiken held Zanpakuto tightly and pointed out the window. Everyone's way of thinking was different, but he wasn't pregnant with Minato. The way of thinking about the problem is different. As a Hokage, it is natural to put the bigger picture first. But he, not Hokage. If it were me. He moved my man, and I slaughtered him a village. The fish will die and the net will break until they die. If you die, you will also bite a piece of meat off of them. Only then will they fear Konoha. Taking a deep breath, the killing intent in Bajien's eyes grew stronger. 200 Anbu elites are on standby. I'm going to kill it back. Sixth more. Whoops. Ask for flowers. How big is Tsunade's mother? Chapter 116. Before this sword, it was invincible. Big brother. In Kumogakure village, surrounded by mountains, the atmosphere is not very good these days. Killer B, there was another patient in that familiar ward. His righteous brother. Fourth generation Reikage. In Kumogakure village. At this moment, the situation of his eldest brother is more worrying than before. Broken hands and feet are not the most serious injuries. It is extremely difficult to adapt to that feeling, let alone recovery from damage to the soul. The recovery period was much slower than expected. Killer B is much better, but still a little weak and far from his peak. Fortunately, he can move freely now. Needless to say. Lying in bed all the time to get used to the feeling of missing arms and legs. After the arm is not connected, he is destined to become a one-armed boy. The medical ninja in Kumogakure village was that after the fractured calf was attached, 163, still couldn't move. Like Orochimaru's hands were sealed, it was as if he had lost consciousness. How's it going? Has the news come back? Struggling to sit up from the bed, I asked eagerly. The injury on the body can be ignored, but the situation in the ninja world must get accurate information. Especially the news from Konoha. Killer B nodded. When Mabuyi came to report before, I was still resting. For him, who is conservatively tortured, it is a very happy thing to be able to fall asleep. Killer B understood this feeling, so he didn't wake him up. Who wins, Konoha, or those guys? I hurriedly asked for the result. Konoha is safe and sound. Not even a few people were killed, but the entire army that invaded Konoha was wiped out. Killer B told the truth. Is that really the case? Reikage sighed, feeling both right and regretful at the same time. Of course, he knew that with that kid there would be no problem with Konoha. Just like him at the beginning, the people who invaded Konoha didn't know how scary that Konoha Kenpachi was. As for regret, those overlord clauses negotiated with Konoha before will have to be fulfilled in the future. Such as the humiliating conditions of how much supplies Konoha handed over each year. However, among the regrets, Reikage also brought a lot of happiness. Fortunately, I didn't act rashly because of the secret letter on the desk in Kumogakure village. That's an invitation to attack Konoha together. Every ninja village dispatched hundreds of elites to attack together, knocking Konoha by surprise. The detailed plan is also presented very clearly. QB Ninetales was produced by Jinchuriki Column Force. Hokage wanted to take care of him, first took the opportunity to find her way and caused her way to run wild, and then let QB Ninetales break the seal and attack from the inside out together. A very well-planned plan. As long as it is implemented well, Kumogakure village may not be able to withstand such an attack. The most terrifying thing is, the villages of Kurigakure, Iwagakure, and Sunagakure all agreed to help. This is very similar to the Third Ninja War. As for the interests after the victory, it is to divide up Konoha's assets and some resources of the Fire Nation. Among them, Kyubi, Ninetales, and Erway are the most attractive. Who doesn't want to take the opportunity to expand the tailed beast known as the War Machine? But they failed. Erway nor Kyubi, Ninetales, went berserk. Konoha, who negotiated strongly with the Kumogakure village, used positive actions to tell all the intruding enemies that they were still the first ninja village. I vaguely remember the words he heard when he was in a coma before leaving Konoha. As long as I stand here, Konoha is the first ninja village. He made it. Ask Mabuyi to send that letter to Konoha as a gift to Hokage. A long silence. Reikage made a decision. This trip to the muddy waters was missed because he was beaten ahead of time, which was definitely a blessing rather than a curse for Kumogakure village. And that superstition, in addition to showing that the Kumogakure village was not involved, was more of an attitude. Taking your stand is important. At least don't let that kid go to the land of thunder to make trouble. Brother, you seem to have changed. Killer Bee scratched his head and said. It's not that it's changed, it's that I understand a truth. At least for now, our Kumogakure village can only keep a low profile. Shaking his head, I sighed. The mighty Kumogakure village bowed his head for the first time, but nothing could be done to him. Killer Bee is alive and alive. With them in Kumogakure village, they can still recover in peace. This is the most important thing right now. After fighting that kid for the first time, he can be sure that the other party is by no means the type of person who likes to be passive. Revenge has only just begun. Jian sang, you shouldn't say that to me this time. Mitarashi's house. Bajian's knife was stuck on the ground, he opened his arms, and the maid beside him obediently tied his arms tightly. The button of the Taoist robe helped him hang the wine gourd around his waist and stepped aside. And Itachi, stupidly squatting at the gate of the yard, blocking it there. The meaning is obvious. Sorry Itachi, next time. He didn't want to hear such words anymore. Just like when he returned to Konoha last time, he was knocked out when he tried to follow Bajian to kill Anbu. Same as in the past. That feeling he never wants to have again. Stupid. Shaking his head, Bajian hit Zanpakuto and dragged Kurama's long ears while he was sleeping. Towards the door. The nature of this time is completely different from the last time, okay. Knocking Itachi, I just don't want to worry about the conflict between Uchiha and Konoha. Now, Konoha has a new look and it's different. Come on, follow me. Starting today, the ninja world will tremble for Konoha. Just early morning. The sun has just risen. The atmosphere in Konoha was warmer than noon. In front of the merit wall in the central square, more than 200 black figures stood there neatly. At the forefront of the team is Anbu's most elite team, the respectable Yi Shao. Uchiha Shisui. Hataki Kakashi. Might Guy. Uchiha Itachi. And the one in the middle with a knife, a wine gourd hanging from his waist, and a sleepy little fox squatting on his shoulders. Known as the kendo genius of Konoha Kenpachi, Yeba Sword. Only the elite of the elite can enter this squad. There, even the junior Itachi made them admire. They knew the intensity of Anbu's special training plan. Although Itachi was young, he was a sign of the best now. Ninjutsu, demonic illusion, 2.2 taijutsu, too strong as for Might Guy, they are a little surprised. But to be able to enter Yi Shao, it must have its own advantages. The killing has begun. Muttering in a low voice, Bajian's gaze shifted from the meritorious wall to his back. Said to be the wall of merit, he was just checking his system panel. Time to complete the advanced quest to unlock Zanpakuto above. The sharp blade reaching the sky, Bajian took a deep breath and smothered Yuhi's face. The time has come for future generations to remember your names. Before this sword, everything was invincible. Kill. Gone. Scare the uncle. Kurama on his shoulders sneezed and turned to Byakugan to call you sister in the morning. Revenge plan, officially started. First more. Codewording, _Ula. Chapter 117 Is he the son of prophecy? When Anbu's black figure rushed out of the village, Minato at the entrance of the village looked at their backs with some emotion. Mr. Jiraiya, if you were here. Do you feel the same way as I do that the son of prophecy who changed the world is the Eight Swords? Watching the back fade away, Minato murmured. Well, let's make sure. Swish. A figure fell beside him. Bold and uninhibited connection and iconic oily forehead, tall man with clogs. Jiraiya, one of the Sanin. Teacher of Namikaze Minato. He's back in the village. You're back, Teacher Jiraiya. The surprise came too suddenly. Minato looked up and down at his teacher. He hasn't changed much. The whole body is still full of free and easy temperament. This kind of temperament is exactly the same as when Bajian is in a relaxed state. Once in serious mode, the will to fight and fight is very similar to Mr. Jiraiya. Fortunately, although they are the disciples and grandsons of Mr. Jiraiya, the two do not have much O4 intersection. Otherwise, it is estimated that it will be damaged by Jiraiya-sensei. As the teacher of Bajian, the ninja Sanjian did not teach well, and Bajian became addicted to alcohol. Case this age can't think of being taken to that kind of fireworks club by Mr. Jiraiya. I'm afraid it will deviate in the future. Yeah, the pursuit of Orochimaru and the safety of the village, the latter must be more important. With a lazy waist, Jiraiya, who doesn't seem to care, has a look of surprise in her eyes. Konoha has changed. Jinchuriki column where blood can be faintly seen. The enthusiasm of the rebirth made Jiraiya quite novel. Konoha, what happened while he was away? In these days of traveling abroad, he has heard some rumors about Konoha Kenpachi. But at first he didn't know that Konoha Kenpachi was the kid he met by chance. Until he saw each other's name and deeds on the wall of merit, he was completely shocked. The little devil who used his own material in the previous column has grown to this point. The terrifyingly rapid rise seems a little out of the ordinary. He is good at analysis. Only someone who is good at analysis can write that kind of book that makes Yuhi's ears red. After carefully observing the 8 swords, he found that the connection between the little devil and Konoha, from the indifference at the beginning, to the integration now. The reason for everything lies in his own disciples. But the character of Yi Bajian is completely different from the son of prophecy he imagined. Facing his own people, he is a warm wind. Treating the enemy is ruthless. Kill decisively. More like the second-generation Hokage Senju Tobirama. Konoha has changed. Even the people he knew had changed. Teacher Sarutobi Hiruzen is sitting at home, fishing and drinking tea peacefully, wandering around Konoha village, looking at the merit wall and the Hokage rock from time to time. And Minato became more assertive, more like a Hokage. What surprised him the most was the change in Konoha village. The genuine smile on his face couldn't be deceived. Konoha, the first ninja village as long as he stands here. What a confidence. Forget it, I want to have a good chat with him. The Orochimaru thing can be put aside for a while. To change the son of prophecy in the ninja world, I'm still a little unsure if it's him. Shaking his head, Jiraiya's figure chased after him. The purpose of his return has slowly changed after seeing the boy. Originally just worried about Konoha, after all rumors that the village has just been attacked, and even Kyubi Ninetales has appeared. Konoha in his heart, he naturally came back. But when he knew that it was a child that changed everything, he had already developed a strong interest. Immortal Big Toad said that one of his disciples will be the son of prophecy and become the key to changing the world of ninja. The disciple's disciple, that's his disciple too. There's nothing wrong with that. Watch it and ask him what he thinks of the war-ridden ninja world. After all, it is his mission to lead the growth of the son of prophecy. Chasing all the way, Jiraiya's mind appeared one after another disciple's face. From the very beginning Uzumaki Nagato, Konan and Yahiko. Minato up to now and Yaba sword that just appeared. So far, these are all his disciples. Speaking of which, I also gave him an unpublished version of Intimacy Paradise. I scratched my head, the book was not reviewed because of its size. The advancing steps suddenly stopped, and on the tree in front, the boy holding the knife was leaning there and waiting for him. Has it been discovered again? When he peeked that day, he realized that something was wrong. It is not difficult for him to hide his breath. Since he was a child, he was better at this kind of voyeurism, so he tried and tested. But now, he was found for the second time. Very powerful sense. Front of him, Jiraiya smiled awkwardly. Is something wrong? Skillfully handing over the wine gourd, Bajian asked calmly. The advance location of Anbu's 200 warriors has been determined, and the tasks have been assigned. After arriving at the designated place, spread out to obtain information, and then choose the target of the attack, so for the time being, he does not need to follow the team all the time. Sensing that he was being followed, he stopped to take a look. This is the second time he and Jiraiya have met. For the first time, he drank his own wine, which was regarded as acquaintance. How old are you? You haven't reached the age of drinking. Pay attention to the 3 forbidden ninjas. Leaning against the tree with the 8 swords, Jiraiya said what he said when we first met. It's inappropriate for you to say that. 91 comes first. 8 swords pouted. If the ninja is banned from 3, I am afraid that this club master has done all 863 when he was in his teens. Another unintelligible name. The last time this little devil called himself Huang Shanyu, who was caught in the drug gambling. Now call Mr. 91Z directly. Strange knowledge has increased. This kid. His head to the side, Jiraiya took a sigh of relief from the wine gourd of the 8 swords. I heard that Minato accepted you as a disciple. You also became Naruto's older brother. Of curiosity, Jiraiya asked. If you think I'm the son of prophecy, you're probably going to be disappointed. Can attract Jiraiya's attention as the son of prophecy. Minato had mentioned this to him, and even he felt that he was the son of prophecy. You're looking for the wrong person. I don't have the legendary escape technique that the son of prophecy should have, which surpasses all Kekkei Genkei and Kekkei Mora's mouth escape, and there is no sunshine that the son of prophecy should have. So please come back, I still have a mission. Up Zanpakuto, the 8 swords rushed forward. Son of prophecy. Gamamaru's trick to fool people. 8 swords wouldn't believe in prophecies like that. He only believes in his own knife. Che, if you say it's not, then it's not. Jiraiya raised an eyebrow and chased after him again. The second. Code wording. Chapter 118. Welcome to Night Owl. Little devil, don't go too far. Fire Country border, on the way to Kurigakure village. The team that has been advancing at a high speed for a day is resting. The ninjas performed their respective duties, and the patrolling probes were dispatched in batches, and then came back to report the situation. 8 swords, the Anbu minister, lay comfortably under the tree, using the llama's soft body as a pillow. No way, he's used to the feeling of lying on Enko and Yugito's lap at home. Use Kurama to deal with it, you can get a little bit of feeling. It's just that Ju, who was obviously used as a pillow, didn't want to, and expressed his opinion. Shish. Tilting his head, Hachiken stretched out 3 fingers at Kurama. Okay, 3 bottles are 3 bottles. Happily slapped Haken, Kurama lay on the ground peacefully. It's just a kid's head, how heavy can it be? Besides, it usually plays the most role as a pillow. Compared with 3 bottles of drinks that make the tailed beast fluttering, this kind of thing is nothing at all. Is that really a tail? How is it like a dog? Under another tree, a white-haired man suddenly appeared in the Yishao team. Weird, but a white-haired man who is famous in Konoha. Even after he came, he directly claimed to be joining the Night Owl team, and gave himself a code name called 91 Zixian. Of the legendary Sanin, Mount Myoboku told immortal Jiraiya. It is indeed Kyubi, 9 tails, although we don't believe it either. Kakashi next to him said with emotion. Jiraiya can be regarded as his idol, and like Bajian, he is also his disciple. So the relationship is more intimate. Lord Kyubi, 9 tails, has indeed changed a bit. Shisui nodded in agreement. Lord Kyubi, 9 tails. The ear of the exclusive pillow moved slightly. It's a really comfortable name. Squinting, Kurama expressed satisfaction. He also said that he is not the son of prophecy, and only the son of prophecy can harmonize with the tailed beast to such a degree. Jiraiya sneered and put the ration pill in his hand into his mouth. Immortal Big Toad once mentioned that the son of prophecy can even influence the tailed beast and let the tailed beast put down the hatred in his heart. This is absolutely right. He would Rasengan not. Cough, Jiraiya suddenly had an idea in her heart. Although it is the apprentice of the apprentice, it is not a direct handed down after all. In order to completely imprint the brand of his own disciple on the other party, Jiraiya has a certain idea. Mr. Minato once wanted to teach Kensang Rasengan, but he didn't want to learn it. Itachi shook his head. I learned it. Embarrassedly smiled at Jiraiya, Itachi stretched out his hand and a ball made of chakra was brought out. Light blue light represents the purest chakra. The original Rasengan did not have attributes. Futon, wind style, Rasengan is essentially different from Rasengan. After adding the wind attribute chakra nature transformation, a weakened version of Rasenshuriken will also be formed. Rasengan with no attributes. Muji, A-level ninjutsu, only ninjas with perseverance and strong chakra masters can use this trick skillfully. But I may be a little stupid, and I can't do the chakra quality change of Jianzhang anytime and anywhere. The skills of mixing fire attributes into Rasengan have not been fully mastered. Saying that, Itachi seemed a little annoyed, and in front of Jiraiya, he slowly merged the fire attribute chakra into Rasengan. When the pale blue Rasengan joined the nature transformation and began to develop towards the fiery flame Rasengan, it disappeared with a bang. Are you stupid? Jiraiya's mouth twitched. Mr. Minato also taught me, but I was too lazy to learn, so I copied one. Kakashi lifts his forehead to reveal 3 tomo. Then a Rasengan gesture appeared in his hand. What is this? Do you want to hit people like that? One who does not like to learn. A lazy, direct copy. The other is even more outrageous, saying that he is stupid, and then randomly comes out a ball to transport the fire element into it. What are you doing? It's not like hitting people. Well, since Mr. Jiraiya wants to join Yi Xiao's team, Bajian will not disagree. Shisui nodded. But Lord Jiraiya, the members of the Night Owl squad must understand each other's basic combat capabilities so that they can exert the greatest tacit understanding in battle. What are your combat characteristics? Please tell me more. Is it teamwork? At a young age, he already understood the importance of tacit understanding. Jiraiya, who recovered from the shock, felt a little emotional. Once, Orochimaru and Tsunade, he added, also understood this under the guidance of Mr. Sarutobi. When he fought against Hanzo of the Salamander in the Second Ninja World War. However, is it fighting power? Jiraiya slapped his chest boldly. He never thought he would actually join a squad. Introduce yourself honestly. At first, he just wanted to mix in the team and see if the boy known as Konoha Kenpachi had some of the things a son of prophecy should have. When he was sitting here, accompanying the members of these squads to eat military food pills, he suddenly found himself as if he had returned to the days when he fought side by side with Orochimaru and Tsunade. Although it is Anbu's team. But this team surprised him. Anbu, isn't that the kind of darkness that lives in the sun? Even teacher Sarutobi said that his character is not suitable for entering Anbu. But you can see the funny guy in the distance who is clearly exercising while eating, and the ninjas around him talking and laughing. It's not just Konoha that has changed. Is this really Anbu? At this moment, he had an idea that he wanted to blend in. Well, just be a temporary team, let's see what he's going to do. Standing up and looking at Shisui, Jiraiya coughed. Ahem, that's a good question. The Toad Immortal is just my name to deceive the world. In fact, I am a well-known white-haired boy from one of the famous Sanin, the Toad Messenger, the handsome guy who can make crying children shut up instantly. Jiraiya-sama. Chin, he glanced at the calm ninjas around. Jiraiya felt a little embarrassed. Didn't talk to you. I really don't know how to respect seniors. Sighing, Jiraiya looked serious. If you're good at it, ninjutsu taijutsu is decent, but the strongest. It's sage art. HMPH, didn't hear of Zhao say it. Sage art, that kind of natural energy that Bajian said. It's very strong. Shisui nodded, not too surprised. Toad Fairy can't be outrageous with sage art. I'm good at demonic illusion and telekinesis and have Mangekyo Sharingan. Kakashi's words have recently been picked up again. After entering the battle state, he will attack with the 8 swords to create opportunities for me and Itachi. Guy is a physique specialist. After speaking, Shisui, Itachi, Guy, and Kakashi, along with Hachiken who squinted for a while, walked by. Several hands together. Jiraiya's hand was also pulled up. There was also a certain furry paw mixed in. Several passionate voices came, which made the hero's blood surge slightly. Welcome to Yi Xiao. Third 7. Code word Ing, thank all the readers who tip. Reward, no reward, only a lot of updates to maintain the quality. Thank you for your support. Chapter 119 True Pieces Fought. Take a short break. The team moves forward again, the direction is still the land of water. The purpose of the 8 swords is clear. He was going to Kurigakure village to see the state of Yagura. Kurigakure village in the original book is a bit rough. When will it be implemented? When will it end? Only an approximate time period. However, there is a signal that at this moment, Kurigakure village is still implementing the blood fog policy. That's Itachi's age. Itachi joined Akatsuki, it was already after the genocide, and at that time his first partner was Biwajuzo, who had done similar things with the 8 swords. One day in the future, facing the sober Yagura, he wanted to put the 3 tails in. When moving the toilet, people also slash the tailed beast bomb. It's a pity that the beheading sword is not the Zanpakuto of the 8 swords after all. It is very fragile and it was directly blown off. The broken decapitation broadsword also bisected Biwajuzo. That is to say, after Itachi's partner, Kisame Hoshigaki, the real man, has not joined Akatsuki at this moment, and Obito has not found the other party to reveal his identity. Based on this signal, it's pretty clear that the village of Kurigakure is still under Obito's time. Look at Yagura's status. If he's still in Demonic Illusion 597, it means Obito is still alive. If not controlled for 2 reasons. First, he did kill Obito himself. Second, I seriously injured Obito, and Demonic Illusion was forced to disarm, but this is unlikely. After all, Bajian doesn't know what Demonic Illusion controlled Yagura, and in the original work, Minato injured Obito, and Yagura's Demonic Illusion was not disarmed either. After all, Demonic Illusion of Kyuubi, 9 Tails was also relieved because of Obito's injury, and it does not rule out that the injury was too heavy and lost control. In short, it is not the elder of the village of Kurigakure who is in control of the village at the moment, and Tsurumi is not in the position. It didn't arrive at the time when Aoyu Byakugan saw that Pale was controlled, but it should have been a few years away. Bai Jingqing has 1 Byakugan. Seeing it with your own eyes will give you more confidence. And whether Demonic Illusion is lifted or not, it won't affect his plans. Jian sang, the destination is approaching. Kurigakure village is located deep in the mountains, the territory is often covered by thick fog, and it is completely isolated from other ninja villages on the island. Along the way, the specially trained Anbu elites sneaked into the Kurigakure village without knowing it. Itachi carefully observed the surroundings and came to report. What the hell are you doing, AEFC? Jiraiya next to him frowned and asked. If it's just an ordinary task, how can it go deep into this position? The village of Kurigakure, known as the village of Blood Fog, is very moving. In this environment for a long time, the villagers of Kurigakure village suffered a lot, and they were also the most tolerant of missing nin. These are what Jiraiya knew about the village of Kurigakure. According to my information, both the upper management of Kurigakure village and the 4th generation Mizukage Yagura are under control. Bajianyu is not astonishing and endlessly dying, 1 sentence, directly stunned Jiraiya. It also made the members of the Night Owl team bewildered. If you think about it carefully, you will know that no one who has truly inherited the will of the shadow will implement the blood fog policy on his own village. Bajian said calmly, there are many ways to compete, such as Konoha's merit wall, where graduates fight each other. How cruel is it to be a shadow? The reason is obvious. The blood fog policy is by no means the right way to cultivate excellent ninjas. Being able to become a shadow is definitely not a brain dead. So, our task is to inform the people of Kurigakure about this. Then liberate the village. Jiraiya's eyes lit up. As expected of the son of prophecy, people who see suffering and suffering can think of saving each other. Said he wasn't. The kindness to the ninja world is obvious. Still wearing it. A child with a fateful choice. I read you right, son of prophecy. Putting his arm on Heiken's shoulder, Jiraiya said admiringly. What do you have to do with the son of prophecy and Mai Bajian? Bajian gave him a strange look, and then revealed his real plan. What we have to do is to master the right to control the village of Kurigakure in our own hands. Turn Kurigakure village into an affiliated village under Konoha's command. Of course, the meaning of this affiliation will not be announced to the ninja world in a short time. After Konoha has completely digested Kurigakure village, he is considering unification. The current high-level Kurigakure village is extremely vulnerable. We just need to move fast enough, and then find a shadowy enough to hold the scene and push it to the position of the 5th generation Mizukage, and let her agree to our conditions. The mission for the village of Kurigakure is complete. Hachiken finished speaking in one breath. Jiraiya was stunned. Not simply to rescue the villagers and ninjas of Kurigakure village, but to seize the power that was already under the control of Kurigakure village. Is this his true ambition? His mouth, Jiraiya wanted to say something, but Bajian didn't give him a chance. Please think about the reason why the ninja world has been in the midst of war. There is no absolute authority, there is never unity. Control the village of Kurigakure at the least cost, liberate the blood fog policy, and when the time is right, unite with the village of Kurigakure to put pressure on other ninja villages to achieve real peace. Do you think something is wrong? Straight into Jiraiya's eyes, Hachiken said calmly. It has nothing to do with power or fame. This is ultimately his purpose. End the war completely and put the ninja world back on track. However, I always feel a little awkward. I still feel that if people understand each other. Jiraiya smiled bitterly. The other party said his ambition and purpose without any hidden tuck. The ultimate goal is the same as the son of prophecy in the prophecy. End the chaos. But isn't the method a bit rude? I was just about to guide the 8 swords by saying the words of mutual understanding I got from Yahiko in the first place. Haven't you killed anyone? Shisui, who was next to him, suddenly came over and smiled, and asked a question directly. It's not nonsense. Jiraiya, who couldn't figure it out, was stunned for a while, so he didn't kill much in the Second Ninja War, and it was certain that he would fight the enemy as a ninja. You asked the parents of the person you killed, do you understand what you are doing? A very simple and rude question, which directly silenced Jiraiya. Killing is to protect the home. But the people who were killed were also seeking a better life for their families behind them. Hate starts here. Even the Second Ninja War, Konoha took the initiative to invade the country of rain. Nagato's parents were also killed by Konoha's ninjas. I won't think about what you explain, just look at it with your eyes, the day when peace comes. Discussed the issue of peace with Shisui at the very beginning. Maybe mutual understanding can really lead to peace. But Bajian, deny that view. True peace is fought. Ready for action. Order. 200 Anbu ninjas slowly sneaked into this blood fog village, taking advantage of the night and thick fog. The killing begins. Fourth more. Code wording. Chapter 120 Killing in the Dark. Kurigakure Village. Since Saping adopted that brutal way of graduation, the village has lost that aura. Especially after nightfall, the atmosphere full of death was terrifyingly depressing. Whoosh whoosh. Several figures passed by in the dark, heading straight for the Mizukage building in the center of Kurigakure village. The well-trained assassination troops showed their due combat effectiveness at this moment. And as the elite of the elite, Night Owl team is the fastest. The target is close. A cold light flashed in the dark night. Puff. Guarding next to the Mizukage building didn't even see the enemy, and fell down with a thud. In the dark night, Shisui waved his hand behind him. In an instant, several figures rushed into the Mizukage building. It's time to taste the blood. Figure flickered, and the 8 swords holding Zanpakuto took the lead and aimed at the Kurigakure village guard in front of him and chopped it down, then went straight to the Mizukage office. As Minister Anbu, he has only one goal. Kill the 4th generation Mizukage Yagura. As for the other members, it's good to clean up the trash. With Yagura and then threatening him as a puppet Mizukage. No, Yagura was young when he became the Mizukage and was able to take over the job of the 3rd generation Mizukage with his own hands, which already speaks to his abilities and loyalty to the village of Kurigakure. The most important thing is that since the blood fog policy was implemented, the village of Kurigakure continued to rule brutally according to his ideas, until the coup in the village of Kurigakure lasted for many years. From this point of view, Yagura still has the most basic dominance and support. That kind of person is not easily forced to succeed, and it is also difficult to really control it. Shisui, S. Kotoamatsukami. The pupil technique that has been cooled once in more than 10 years, the 8 swords will not be used on Yagura so easily. And since you can solve this problem more quickly in your own way, why waste Shisui's pupil technique? After all, his eyes are only Mangekyo, not eternal Mangekyo. Every time he uses his vision, it will go down. Relatively speaking, he wants to throw this opportunity to Terumi Maimore. Kicked open the door of Mizukage's office, and Yagura saw Yagura sitting on a chair inside. 3 Tails Jinchuriki Column Force. Jinchuriki Column Power, the person who can perfectly control the power of the tailed beast. But when you meet each other's eyes, he can see clearly from the confusion inside. Yagura remains under the control of Obito demonic illusion. Obito is still alive. Now the 8 swords have been completely confirmed. That being the case, his pupils shrank for a while, and his Zanpakuto had already turned up without hesitation. This chapter is free.